to turn in a vehicle at the fleet, there'd be an empty desk. You'd put your keys down with a note, and you didn't know when the vehicle would come back. Now we have dedicated service riders. It's similar to checking into a hospital. They come in, they find out what the symptoms are, they write it up, and you get a work order, and you know about what time it's going to take to move through all these things. Fleet has also started an e-blotter program. This is very detailed and fine. You can, user departments can get a real-time look at the status of repairs, get an idea of when the vehicle is coming back out, and just track it start to finish. Another big move in Fleet was that they have revamped the preventive maintenance program. There was a huge backlog. When Kevin Exley came on board, we were behind over 1,000 preventive maintenance schedules. We had vehicles that had not been with a PM in 2 years. We will close those out this year and be caught up to speed. You've heard a few times about fleet right-sizing. We are making a concerted effort to make sure that we have an optimized fleet. We have the right mix of equipment, service spares, and maintenance spares so that we can get our work done throughout the city with no surplus, no extra vehicles. Part of that is a condition, an artifact left over from the poor maintenance of the past, and we are moving away from that. And we have reorganized staging yards in Fleet. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago at our budget meeting with code compliance and the city manager, and he asked Cynthia, do you ever write citations at city facilities? Because it was so bad over there. We have now cleared all the backlog. We had a junkyard out front. That's all gone now. So, initiatives for 2026. Code compliance, this is goal 5, objective 1. We're going to continue enforcement of quality of life codes, continue our blight eradication and graffiti abatement programs, and we're going to continue our collaboration and outreach among our different code enforcement agencies. Park and Tree, their objective, goal 5, objective 2 is to keep public spaces and infrastructure safe, clean, and well maintained. We're going to be sure that our staff is fully equipped. That includes education and training, the right tools and supplies and everything necessary to maximize the upkeep of our facilities. We're going to update our standards so that there is a checklist. You know, if you go into a park, is it clean? Is it well maintained? Are the facilities where they need to be? Do the water fountains work? You know, do the basketball courts have the nets on the goals and things like that? And also leveraging new technology to streamline and improve processes. One of these, you'll see it soon at council, will be a remote controlled track mower for mowing our bridge abutments, our inrows, and also through some of their management platforms for keeping track of work and making sure that we're getting there when we're supposed to. In sanitation, we're going to continue to meet service delivery standards and provide timely updates on schedules. We're going to expand automated solid waste delivery. Now our standard unit is to use a 3-person crew with a rear-loading truck. We'll be moving forward beginning in our recycling department with automated collection. That is a truck with, it's a 1-person crew with an arm that can be controlled from the cab that will actually reach out, grab the cart, dump it in the back of the truck, and we can move forward. It's more efficient. It seems to work, it will work best for our recycling program. We can't use it throughout the city, mainly in our areas where we don't have the density that we do downtown, and our newly annexed and developed areas are ideal for improving for that. We're also proposing an in-cab monitoring system that we can see conditions in real time, and we will move to that in a moment. Fleet Service is going to update vehicle diagnostics using digital technologies. I'll have some more on this in a minute also. Continue the fleet right-sizing we started in government operations. We got that done first. We're working in the fire department, and that will branch out throughout the whole city fleet. And we're looking to improve operational efficiencies, to eliminate redundancies, and optimize partnerships with our user departments so that they have a stronger role in maintaining or meeting our preventive maintenance schedules and operating the vehicles. Okay. I've got two initiatives here on this slide. First is a litter collection vehicle for downtown. This is will be used in our service lanes where it's very congested and cramped, but there's a lot of activity and a lot of litter and a lot of trash on the ground. This will make that work more smoothly and allow us to move some of our litter people back out onto the right-of-ways where they can be more effective. We're also proposing 2 maintenance workers for the Dean Forest Road landfill. Landfill operation is basically a slow construction project. We spend a lot of money putting the garbage where it's supposed to be and then covering that with soil and grassing it so that all of that doesn't erode away. We have done a lot of this work with temporary labor, and the problem with that is that you have to train them every time they show up, and they require a higher level of supervision. This we want to have full-time staff who know what the job is, and they have that quality mindset. And 2 more here. The first is in-cab mounted cameras to monitor crew behavior and conditions outside the vehicle. You can see at the slides there, those are in the lower side. This actually looks out in front of the truck. It actually looks into the truck as well. It will give us alerts if somebody is perhaps driving without a seatbelt. It will send an alert, and it will also send a reminder to the operator, an audible reminder to fasten your seatbelt. If we're picking up a phone while we're operating a truck, it will actually tell you to put the phone down, and it will also alert management on that condition, on that. So all that is to create that mindset of quality, high-performing services. The next is on the upper portion of the slide there. This is $59,000 for diagnostic devices for fleet. This is these are tough books, computers that actually plug into the vehicle. Kind of like if you've been in a hospital room, you've seen the monitoring devices. These will actually look into the truck, tell you where many of the problems are, and you don't have to do the trial and error troubleshooting and find out diagnosing a problem. So I think that's basically it, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Gene. I just want to point out for council, government operations begins on page 126 in your hymnal. And I do want to point out that every service center, every service.
Y'all in these passing references, I mean,
It's like
Gene was coming through with scripture, and now
we got a hymnal.
now Jay is leading the choir, so.
in our line of work, it pays to pray.
Every day. That's right.
Yes, sir, it does. I just want to note one thing, and it's for every service center. You'll see that we have workload measures broken out by our strategic plan for each service center. And you'll see the department next to them just as a guide to help you read the budget and the performance measures that are there. Both the performance measures as they've been measured for the current year and what our proposed 2026 measure is for that.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Just want to thank you guys for the cleanups that you did during the hurricanes, and getting the stuff mulched and out of the way, but I especially want to thank you guys for an initiative that started in the 3rd District, Rock the Block. You can continue to do that. It adds value to all of the districts, and wanted to just make sure that we talk about doing things that change the quality of life, and that y'all are receptive to ideas. We have a problem with young people selling water on these corners, and so in the 3rd District, we've started a joint program with the school and some of the counselors, and I want to thank Bates for taking care of the legalese. We want to make sure that we give these kids lawnmowers so that they can get community service from the schools, and also take care of some of the elderly people in the neighborhood. I think it's a good initiative. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to recapture and keep it green. So I'm just challenging all the other districts to come on board. If they're having problems with these young people giving water, give them a lawnmower, let them make some real money, and keep them off these streets. We have to make sure that we connect and meet people where they are. Thank you, Collins Bates, and thank you, Cynthia and Prevette, for allowing us to have these type of things that take care of our community, the people, the elderly, the kids in real time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Prevette. Do you have in budget considerations about the parks? We talked about making sure that we maintain our parks, which is our largest green space in the city. And I know we have a plan to do some renovation to our parks. It's already November. Do we already have our winter ride out, and are we ready to go as far as?
We have a project for Daffin,
Yes.
to remediate it. I believe that includes some irrigation, is that right? Right, so yes, so we're dealing with that.
So will we be ready, budget-wise, for our young people in next summer when it's time for them to go out and play football?
Yes,
Okay, so also, are we ready to have that conversation about updating our cemetery spaces and working with our providers to make sure that when our funeral providers go to the cemetery, they're not being bogged in, and we just look a little bit ahead to see if there's anything that we can do as the service providers to have a better outlook, I guess, and budget for, let's see, for the cemetery itself. Driving into it, most people get bogged down.
there's been quite a bit of work of late to improve the roads. It's been a very wet summer, and so we're trying to catch up there. I believe Evergreen is up, that we're putting a bid package together for the project there.
Yeah, I
And
know
that
we
should go over the first of the
we
year.
did a lot with the Evergreen. I wanted to make sure that when we go into Bonaventure and everything else like that.
Yeah, we want to thank you too for Greenwich, and
Right,
Tommy
and-
Holland too for stepping in, and for you, sir, for having that, bringing everybody out to take care. When we take care of one sacred place and we get it right, then that means that we're taking care of all of them all the time, and I appreciate you and bringing everybody out, sir. Thank you so much.
So with that, also, thank you, Carlos Bates, and also with code compliance for being able to do what you guys do, knowing that you had a limited amount of staff, and also working with the police department. So thank you for always meeting the challenges and everything that come along with it. I even had an opportunity to go out with the code enforcement over the weekend, and the police came in and we resolved the problem with the short-term vacation rental. So thank you with that also. And I also look forward to working with you with our nightlife management possibilities. So thank you with that. Also, thank you, Q, for your department also being accessible with our churches and continuing with the litter mediation and stuff that we're doing. So continue to do what you guys doing. We look forward to all the work that you're doing and helping out.
Yes, thank you. I think Cynthia Knight is doing a tremendous job with our code compliance.
Yes, she is.
Yeah! Woohoo! Girl power. Woo!
We rocking it.
Gene, thank you. I think my concern is a little bit different in that I know we pick up a lot of litter and a lot of trash, but the behavior is not changing.
Right.
Every day I leave my home and in and around somewhere, I'm seeing the litter team out picking up stuff. And the fact of the matter is, it's clean and then it's littered again. And so I'm really interested, and you hate to, do the carrot, but I think, if we pick it up and people just throw it back there again, I'm really wondering, are there ways or best practices, and some of us going to NLC this week, of really finding ways to be a little more in the punitive space for people who want to just choose to litter and throw stuff down. How do we better educate people about what this is, what this means, and how convenient it is sometimes. I know for me, I'm famous for, if I have a cup and I'm finished with that cup and there's not a trash can, I'm just putting it in my pocket. I get home today, I'll still have the cup. The challenge downtown is that there's just not a lot of garbage cans. And so I end up in my pocket and I just hold on to it. So how do we, create opportunities for people, to do the one look, two look, and have a place to put it. But on the other end of it, particularly in neighborhoods, how do we create those opportunities where people say, you know what, it's a penalty for me doing it, I'm not gonna do it. I know for us, when we were coming up, we had to go out and we cleaned up our own neighborhoods. That was our job. And so therefore, I wasn't throwing anything on the ground because I knew that it'll probably be trash I had to pick up. Right. So how do we, move forward with better education, better public awareness of just saying, you know what, we're a beautiful city, but it's not beautiful when you do this crap and drop this right here when you could put it somewhere else.
I think the answer is in the question with education and outreach and cultivating those values where we don't throw it on the ground. Wherever we are and wherever we go, there's a trash can. And why not hold it? Why do you have to get it away? But you've seen it. You've seen bus stops where there's a bench with a canopy and litter baskets on either end, and underneath the bench is full, almost touching the bottom of the bench. I've seen people be this close to a trash can and drop it on the ground. So it's a perennial question. There was an earlier question or comment. I think we've got to do more in getting that message across, and I would hope that we would find ways to start very early. Maybe in high school, but I think that's probably too late. I think we need to start in kindergarten.
Yes.
But on the other hand, high school students have to have a number of community service hours to graduate. Could we connect them with our neighborhood associations and get some synergy there?
Yes.
Maybe
Get it
that's
clean
the way-
and then start creating that value.
And maybe, Jay, I don't know, hopefully it's not a huge budget ask or something to be absorbed in, but maybe we could look at really pushing forth in Q1, Q2 of, don't pick it up. Don't
Yeah, I
do
think
it.
we've gone through cycles where we've, had an anti-litter campaign, and it's probably ripe to do that again and think through some of the best practices and look to other communities. There have been plenty of studies about, that show that the presence of public litter baskets does nothing to decrease the presence of litter in public spaces. Of course, we need to have the values issue. It's how do we, respect our city. I think the thing that we also need to realize too is like when we build and maintain beautiful public spaces, people are going to be less likely to litter there too. So I think one of the best things that we can do for litter prevention is to make sure that, one, we're building great public spaces and infrastructure, and then maintaining it at a really high standard as well. So that's, I think, that's what's on us.
I think I saw Alderwoman Bell, then Alderwoman Shabazz, and Alderwoman Bell.
So quickly, Tafty, I'm going back to you again, but in the past, haven't we, as a city, had some implemented anti-litter campaigns in the neighborhood by offering some sort of incentives or prizes to neighborhoods at certain points during the year when the city inspects the areas and find that, evaluate them, that sort of thing. That's not a question really for you to answer, but it's just one of the things I think we've used in the past, and we may just need to return to some of those kinds of activities and around the schools as well, on the school grounds, to encourage not only adults, but children as well. And if they know that there's an incentive, there's, I don't know, a pizza party for the class or whatever, and especially if they're unannounced, you don't know when the city's crew, the Keep Savannah Clean crew is gonna be coming around. I think there are ways, we can get creative. I mean, I'm just, off the top of my head. So you can respond to that, because I see you're going to anyway. But there's one other thing, Jean, and this isn't a new thing with me. And I know that there's probably, it's not just a garbage collection issue, but it's probably a code issue as well. At the corner of Bolton and, Drayton, is an accident waiting to happen. There is a huge commercial dumpster on the northern side of the street, the northwest side of the street, northwest corner. If someone is traveling west on Bolton to turn onto Drayton, and traffic is proceeding north on Drayton, and neither knows that they're about to approach each other, somebody's gonna be hit, because there's this huge dumpster that protrudes. We've talked about it before, and you found out you were about to move it and realized that you couldn't do it. I think it's for service. I think it services the apartment building that's on the corner, but we need to figure out something to do.
We will circle back on that.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank Chief Provette in your leadership of your team for doing the hard work. And you do such a superior job in your leadership and with all of your department heads. So I just want to thank all of you for what you all continuously do in our city to follow up with the codes, with our parks, with our fleet, with our sanitation, and everything. And that's the overall comment that I have, and just wanted to express that on behalf of myself and all of my constituents and all those throughout the city of Savannah. And the other thing is with the cemeteries, our hands are just up in praise with Evergreen Cemetery as you all continue to just make us proud in maintaining that cemetery. You brought it up, you got it right, and you continuously keeping it right. So thank you all so much. There's one practice that I do in my district, throughout the district, because you've been around and you see hot spots. And what some of my constituents, especially those who walk, who bike, who are out there on the ground, I ask them to please be my eyes in these certain areas, because it works. Once you see some type of dumping happen, they are sending me pictures, they're calling. I get in contact, call 311 and through the city manager's office, and you guys are on it. And it works. If you get on top of it and you all stay on top of it, then it doesn't become this continuously So thank you all so much for everything that you do.
Thank you for your kind words, and I am definitely surrounded by the dream team.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman Miller Blakely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Pravat, thank you so much for the hard work that you and your staff do, especially your sanitation department. They're A1. But I have a concern, and I have been talking to the city manager about this. It's our thoroughfares and our medians. And you talk about litter and people just dropping trash wherever. If our thoroughfares and our medians looked better than they do, then I think people would respect the fact and say, okay, this is cut nice, it's not overgrown, and I don't want to add trash to it. And in the past, when we had our own department, park and tree, road maintenance and what have you, our city never looked like it's looking right now. So if, maybe we need to go back to the old way. I've always been told, if it ain't broke, why you trying to fix it? It wasn't broke. So I don't understand why we just got rid of that department, because those individuals that did the medians and the roads and the streets, the maintenance of it, they did a phenomenal job. But now, if you look, ride down Abercorn, ride down, what is that? Montgomery Street and those thoroughfares, main thoroughfares, Victory Drive even, you see where grass is growing out of the street, trash everywhere. So maybe if we focus on cleaning up those areas, then people will stop and say, okay, I don't want to drop trash. I don't want to, make it worse than what it is. So I just think that's something that you should take in consideration, Mr. City Manager. I tell you this every week. Okay?
you do.
All right.
And I put medians on our hot list. I've got a hot list. It's on the hot
All
list. 2 years ago, council invested in a Back to Basics program for Park and Tree. We renamed it Park and Tree. We added several dozen staff members and continue to invest in the equipment that's necessary. So we're trying to build that department back to the people power that it had years ago, and then some, because we've grown tremendously since those times. We still do utilize contracts as well to help augment that service. And it's been something I've talked to with Alderwoman Linda Wilderbryant, who's seen concerns in the 3rd District, and with you as well. And so it's on the hot list and something that we're really focused on improving this year.
Thank you. You know what, maybe if we tell the contractors that they will not be contracting with the city anymore if they can't get it right, then maybe they'll do it better than what they're doing, because they're not doing a very good job
Understood.
at all. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we will be following up with that this week with Park and Tree and Greenscapes, looking into that.
Thank you.
All right?
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Jean, for your presentation, and thank you and your department for you all being so responsive. When there's a problem and it's called in, you all are right on it. It's recognized, so thank you all for that. Regarding the cemeteries, I need to know whose department is that?
That actually comes under Park and Tree.
On the Park and Tree, okay, I'll be getting with you, and then regarding the Woodville Cemetery and some requests.
Okay.
I've got a problem in the 1st District, a notorious problem that I've been battling since 2020 and making some recommendations, some policy recommendations, and that's on illegal dumping. That is a huge problem. And since we are focusing on solving issues like the trash and the litter downtown with the litter crew, I think we need to, this problem is solvable. I see it as being solvable. And Jay, I've many times come to you about this. I think you're working on something, but I wanted to mention it today. It is something that I think we could impact positively with some policy initiatives, because we know what we're seeing in that illegal dumping. It's the same thing all the time. It's construction material, and it's furniture out of these flipping and these renovation of these housing. And we're gonna see more of that in the next few years. And so we need to get out in front of this and request and require these people who deal with tires, furniture, and this housing developers to provide a landfill ticket to show that they had to discard this material. and fine them starting at about $5,000. That's what I recommended to Jay. Because it needs to hurt. They need to feel it. The mayor talked about behavior modification. I think that would modify some behavior really quick if we could catch some of these people dumping all of this trash on the sidewalks and the right-of-ways. That's a huge problem. Let's have some more discussion about that, and I look forward to see what you all bring before council in the workshop on that. And we would like to have code officers pay a little bit more attention to small businesses, to these businesses like the Dollar Generals and some of these other businesses that you could see a trail of trash from the store into the neighborhoods. And their parkings, when they don't fit those small lots, they need to go and find another place where they could conduct all of the business on their lots and not conduct business on the streets. You can't maintain and fix vehicles on the street and park your industrial vehicles on the street. They need to be able to be secured on that lot, and we are overlooking that. And they're not mowing and maintaining, some of them, the grass, and as well as they should, before. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I think that's all I have for right now. So thank you all for the work that you're doing. And again, illegal dumping is the biggest
Thank you.
problem that
We will follow up on those.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more thing. Mohawk Lake, Alderwoman Blakely, Alderman Purty. Now, what my talking point right now is using Mohawk Lake as the centerpiece. And then going throughout those arms, those streams, those canals that feed off of Mohawk Lake in those canals and in those waterways. We've got to do a better job around that area because Alderwoman Blakely, Alderman Purty, we talk about it, not often, you know, it's something I just wanted to point out. But there is an area behind Quail Forest particular, if you all could go back into those canals back there. It's been done?
Done it.
Okay,
You did a phenomenal,
fantastic.
They did it, and y'all did a phenomenal job. I'm so proud, and I thank y'all so much. The name of the company is At Your Service Tree Removal. We need to hire them. I'm not advocating, I'm trying to push them, but their work
They're doing a
was
good job.
impeccable. It's so good that I sent pictures to Daphne, city manager, to Lita, and I believe to Taffany. They did a phenomenal
Okay,
job.
fantastic.
So please, and I would like to see all of our canals and ditches look as nice as the one that those individuals did. So thank you all so
Well,
much.
I will make a plug for the canal and ditch maintenance service enhancement request
That part.
in the budget. Yes, ma'am.
That's so good, that's so good to hear, because that was a sore spot, glad
As
to
a matter
know
of
that.
fact, can you send all those pictures to all of the council members?
Yeah.
So they can have yes, thank you so much.
I just
Thank
want a
you.
picture of third district.
Thank you. All right, so, thank you, thanks, Jean, to all of you, and really to the employees that you represent. It's not easy work, but it's work that folks show up every day and they continue to do. They do at high levels, and most times, they do it so well that people don't realize the work had been done. They think it just stays, it's just supposed to be like that. So thank you all so much.
Thank you for your time and attention.
Can I
And
have a question?
Huh?
One more question, please.
Oh, go ahead.
Jean, when we have contractors, let's say landlords, and when they evict people, you see all of these items that they put out on the curb. Now, sometimes residents place items out, and we pick those up, and sometimes it might be a fee. But when you have landlord placing these items out, that's a business, and that should be a different type of fee structure for them. It's a cost of doing business when they have to come in and clear out those houses, and it happens a lot in certain areas. So could we consider that or look at some type of solution, or they should be paying?
Those would be special bulk collections, and they would be charged in accordance with the revenue ordinance.
And they pick them up on the regular bulk pickup day, or they have to call it in? They schedule it?
Particularly with evictions, they're a priority to us, and we clean those up as soon as we get a notification of them, just so they don't stay there.
Just a quick idea and then we'll move on. And maybe this might involve also Chief Gunther. We have these portable flock cameras. Are there opportunities, particularly in the places around that we know dumping happens a lot, that maybe that could be kind of a opportunity to catch some of them? I mean, you know.
Your Honor, we actually did a pilot with flock cameras for 2 years, and we had some cases we made, but the images that we got were not sufficient to the judges to cite the individual.
Okay, because I just think, you know, to Alderman Lanier's point, you make some examples of some folks, they'll stop. They'll stop.
Understood.
I think for the flock camera pilot, flock cameras are very good at catching individuals.
Right.
And they're very, very helpful with SPD and others, but we don't make the case using flock cameras for crimes. When we were trying to make a code compliance case or ordinance violation with a flock camera about, hey, we saw this truck here, they're dumping, we just didn't have the kind of success that we have. So we've got to continue to try new things. And per Alderwoman Lanier's request, we're going to do a workshop early in the year. There's some policy proposals that we're working on as well, to try to have a longer and heavier stick as it relates to
I'll be willing to
illegal
hear
dumping.
it. And I think hopefully our Light Up Savannah initiative will work as well. Some areas in our city are just dark.
Yes, sir.
And we know where it's dark, you know, it's easier to dump. So maybe that'll help as well.
Yes, sir.
Gene, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Go Team Savannah.
No, see, that's, Gene, hold up, because, see, Gene turned around, Gene gone. He's gone.
Wait a minute before you start praying again.
Gene said he's out. He
Just
said,
wanted to piggyback on what the Alderman, Ms. Bell, said. The 912 rollout was simply amazing. You did a really good job on that. And so when the mayor said that, and Alderwoman Bell said that we need to be creative, Mr. City Manager and Mr. Mayor, can we not roll out something where, I'm all about getting these kids engaged, can we maybe, everybody's saying keep Savannah beautiful. I think that's kind of stayed. We need to get these kids involved and maybe creating a slogan. Can we work on getting kids involved and let it, you know, filter down from, we have these interagency agreements, and I think we're in a good place. We left the school board better than what we found it, and we appreciate them. So I'm thinking that, like Alderman Bell alluded to, that we get more kids involved and let them create what our slogan would be for keeping Savannah beautiful. If y'all would just
pick
add
that blank up.
And they're saying SHIT too, but anyway.
I ain't say that, but I'm just saying.
Blank means that, but anyway, I'm saying,
Pick
can
it
we
up.
get more creative and get our kids involved? Anything that we can do to get these kids thinking and being innovative, we need to incorporate that and run that out of the parks to get those kids, because we do have some programs. I'm just interested in getting more and getting our kids at an earlier age introduced to what we actually do and what good government is. And good government is always going to be including our children so that they can be viable and productive citizens. Thank you for what you do, sir, and thank you for listening.
All right, thank you. Gene already came down the steps. Gene said, I'm not going back up there. Thank you.
So I'd like to
Thank you,
now,
Gene, and the Go Team.
Yeah, yes.
I'd like to now introduce Faye DeMassimo, who's Chief of Planning and Economic Development. and her team that's behind her. And I'll just remind all of our chiefs, the nugget of this is the discussion after the presentation, so we'll quickly get through those things.
This
Thank
is
you so
Faye
much,
and the
Faye.
PED team.
Very
The
good,
PED
thank
team,
you.
that's right.
PED
So
team.
what we want to focus on in our conversation with you today is what we've done, what is upcoming, and how this ties to GPS to make a difference for your constituents and for the residents in the city of Savannah. So on our proposed budget, you'll note, I'm going to call out just a couple of particular things. In development services, the new floodplain manager position, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the presentation, but you've also heard about it, I think, earlier this morning as well, and the importance of that. In parking services, we've done a little bit of reorganization, and there's a small incremental change there to support the implementation of Parking Matters. And then there was a big change, which Gene also noted in his presentation, where the TCOs as well as another support staff member moved over to codes enforcement from our special events film and tourism team. We support all 6 pillars of GPS. There are certainly some that we are particularly core in expanding economic access and developing world-class livable infrastructure, but literally everything we do has some relationship to these key parts of GPS. We're going to talk about those now. So in development services, I want to call out a couple of things. This year in our 2025 accomplishments, we maintained our Class 5 rating in the National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System. What that means is a continued 25% discount in flood insurance premiums for those policies, and that means an annual savings of over $600,000 to those that hold those policies. In addition, wanted to point out our commercial sector is leading growth. The major projects include multifamily, hotels, and warehouses that are driving higher valuations above last year's levels, and our residential construction is slightly down. In our 2026 goals, so what are we going to be doing in the coming year, that new floodplain coordinator position secures our future through proactive floodplain management and reinforces our commitment to build resilient infrastructure to protect our residents. Again, a savings, an additional savings to our residents, and we hope to improve our standing even further in the ratings. In economic development, I've got a couple of things on here I want to particularly call out in our 2025 accomplishments. In the Mayor's Small Business Annual Conference, we had 315 presenters, attendees, and resources for small business. We completed the inaugural Harvard Bloomberg Leading Economic Development Cities program and developed an interactive tool for residents to identify resources to help them improve economic mobility. That tool is continuing in development now. We graduated 13 new businesses in the second cohort of Launch Savannah. And this one I'm particularly, or at least several, I'm particularly proud of, and I want to emphasize them. In FY24, our outcomes in contracting included 24.61% overall DBE and 14.2% local DBE, representing 58% of all DBE dollars remaining local. We're going to continue to build upon that this year, and we are excited about that success. In addition, and this is just remarkable, 14 minority and women-owned businesses became primes. So they are now successfully competing at an even higher level. In our 2026 initiatives, real focus obviously on Waterworks facility in the Canal District and continuing implementation of our priority corridors initiatives, including Waters Avenue and MLK. In planning and urban design, key accomplishments included the recent adoption of the Canal District Master Plan. I know that was a tremendous accomplishment. Certainly that Alderman Lanier did such a tremendous job in helping to provide keen leadership to, but something that the entire council has supported. So we appreciate that. Adopted the Affordable Housing Overlay District, and you can see some of the others that we're relaunching the CNU Southside Retrofit Study. And in terms of ongoing initiatives, we're developing housing tools. There will be a workshop later in the month that talks about what some of those housing tools are, including inclusionary zoning incentives, development standards, additional revisions to the ADU standards, and so forth. We also are expanding the Hotel Development Overlay District, the Victorian Streetcar and Kyler Brownsville expansion to prohibit hotels, collaboration with Hudson Hill on zoning changes, The River Street Vision and Implementation Plan, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in relation to our Savannah Moves, our multimodal transportation plan. We recently held the kickoff of the Safe Streets for All 37th Street corridor. Had a great night that night. People enjoyed spending their Monopoly money, and we got some great insights and input from our residents and businesses along that corridor as to what they want to see there in the future. And then the I-16 flyover and MLK Celebration corridor are continuing to advance in a strong partnership with the Georgia Department of Transportation. In the Office of Sustainability, on-site solar, 27 city facilities, $100,000 in annual savings, and energy efficiency facility upgrades, including 29 city facilities, over $115,000 in savings. And for 2026, we are focused on the update to the 100% Savannah plan. And we are challenging ourselves. Up until this point, it's been a little more internal focused about our buildings, our facilities, and so forth. We're going to make sure that the community and community assets and community needs are also reflected in our 100% clean energy plan update. Special events, film, and tourism. The FY25 accomplishments permitted approximately 500 special events. It's been a very busy year. Managed around 235 buskers and street performer permits. Oversaw 110 tour companies, working on the development of a nightlife program manager role to help guide our nightlife activity citywide. And in FY26, and we are really proud of this, and it's something we have seen the success of, including just this past weekend with the Savannah Southern Half Marathon. We developed a planning process for how we advance major events, both those that use routes like a race, but also those that use locations. So maybe a large concert as an example, and ways to be good stewards of the public spaces, to make sure that we're coordinating on all the required location stuff initially, the traffic management information next, and then lastly, the communication plan that needs to go along with that. Very dedicated effort to how we accomplish those things now, and it's resulting in really good outcomes for the events themselves. We are also reallocated positions within the division to better serve our citizens, and we're looking at how we can best do that now. Parking and mobility, 2025 accomplishment. The Parking Matters study updates. You'll see final recommendations later this year, and that addresses our current and future issues in parking. And then in 2026, our garage is in design at Eastern Wharf, and it will add nearly 400 spaces of inventory. You see the goals here that are stated that we are supporting through both the work that we accomplished this year and the work that will be coming up. In transportation, the 2025 accomplishments include Vision Zero initiatives. 50 traffic calming devices were installed, nearly $2 million spent towards the elimination of traffic fatalities and serious injuries. We lowered speed limits and updated more than 400 signs on 100 city streets, allowing for enforcement of reduced speed limits. Road resurfacing, more than 21 lane miles milled and resurfaced at $4 million. Transportation improvements, $1.3 million in design is underway, 2 new sidewalk projects, 2 new signal installations, and 2 new roundabouts. And in our winter storm response, transportation worked a combined total of 846 man-hours, including traffic control, traffic infrastructure repairs, clearing the roadways, spreading more than 60,000 pounds of material, and helping to alleviate hazardous road conditions. In our 2026 goals, we are keeping that ambition rolling with the MOVES transportation plan and the development of a multimodal transportation plan. This will be a really important part of how we compete most successfully for partnerships, public-private partnerships, local partnerships, and federal and state dollars that are available, and also really aligning the community around the system that we want to see. Vision Zero Action Plan update will also be underway. Benton Highlands concept development, and again, another strong partnership with GDOT there. If you recall, on the SPLOST list, Savannah's got $24 million in there for the Benton Highlands system area improvements. Port Wentworth is in for 12, and GDOT is in for $62 million. That's pretty good leveraging, I think. And then on the pothole patrol, you will soon see Uncle Phil out on the streets in all of his grandeur. The initiative will ensure complete city coverage via a rotating schedule to improve consistency, response time, and overall road conditions. In addition, a part of what we've done there is a real strong partnership with the water department, because sometimes the things that people think are potholes are actually a utility matter that's in the street. And so we've worked together to figure out how our improved process for pothole repair will also be complemented by another type of support and assistance and response from our friends in water. So on our SER investments, the benefits and return on investment, again, we mentioned the floodplain coordinator earlier. This enables better flood risk assessment and mitigation. It strengthens our compliance with federal, state, and local floodplain regulations, and ensures that local building and design standards integrate flood resilience and sustainability principles. On parking enforcement positions, this assists in implementing parking-related recommendations and providing enforcement across a larger service area. Supports the parking matters by enhancing enforcement area and time. And then the transportation planning manager position. This is as a part of our development into a Department of Transportation that runs planning all the way through operations and maintenance. This position will be essential to meeting growing community expectations for safe, sustainable, and well-connected transportation infrastructure. They'll be the primary holder and implementer of the MOVES plan as it moves forward, and they'll also be key on things like grants and project support and assistance and development. So with that, I think we would like to close by saying thank you so much to Mayor and Council and our City Manager for the support that we enjoy to enable us to make sure that we're meeting these critical needs throughout the city. And thank you, and we welcome your questions.
Team, and how do you want to? Jay?
Yes, sir. Faye, why don't you go ahead and introduce the team real quick, and we'll get to questions.
Good afternoon, Budget Retreat3, Director of Planning and Urban Design.
Good afternoon, Julie McLean, Development Services Senior Director.
Good afternoon, Miranda Lumpkin-Lotson, Economic Development.
Good afternoon, Sean Brandon, Senior Director of Mobility and Parking.
Good afternoon, Nyla Oliver, Sustainability Director.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Jason Pagliaro, Special Events, Film and Tourism.
Good afternoon, Steve Henry. I'm Senior Director for Transportation.
Yeah.
Mayor and Council, just a reminder, the Planning and Economic Development was a service center born out of our executive realignment 2 years ago, and I think has really focused in all of these departments that think about land use and above grade infrastructure, and how we maintain them, how we build them, how we operate them, and how we manage and create policy so that we have the right kind of land use development patterns as well. I think you're going to see, you've already seen in the 2 years the service center has existed, and you'll see a continuation of a big emphasis on community planning, a big emphasis on having the right plans, on sophisticating our own projects and processes as we grow into a major city function and not a small town function that maybe we came from. So I think hopefully you're seeing those. This is in response to the priorities that you have for our ability to plan and execute on our big above grade projects.
All right, so Alderwoman Miller Blakely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Damasio, thank you for your presentation. Thank you to your team for doing the job that you do. As you all know, I am a stickler for small business, especially African-American businesses. And I heard you say that there were 13 DBEs that turned into primes.
14.
14.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me correct that. 14. I would like to have a list of those businesses, the names of them, and how we as a community can support them. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Faith, for your presentation. Mr. City Manager, what I kept bringing the city staff was I was having an issue with, I needed to try to have either a dashboard or some kind of way for us to be able to recognize and get information about either constructions or demolitions. Because we've seen a lot of construction in our community and some demolitions also, but nobody that's doing the work can show me the actual document that shows that they have a permit to do either one.
Okay.
So we've been asking multiple times, can we get it? But I'm still waiting on a couple of them. But I've seen on 37th Street that one guy hit a gas line, but still to this day, I don't see that white. Is it required? I'm not sure. If it's required for them to have a box that they put in front of a site that shows that they have permits or?
I can ask Julie McLean to address that. I will say, in response, she's walking up to the mic to address that. I know I was proud of the team who created a GIS map layer for all current permitting that I know that they shared with council and with you, and I think that's a really remarkable and transparent way where you can, look at a map and see all the dots on the map and click on those dots to see what's been permitted and what's been proposed there as well. But let me turn to our city engineer to answer that question for
Yeah,
you.
thank you. So just to add to what the city manager was just saying, we are actually trying to expand that GIS-based map to include site permits. I know there was a recent issue where there was an active construction site and it turned out they had a site permit. So we are expanding the tool that we have in place to include that information as well, just to make it a little bit more comprehensive. But regarding whether permits are posted, for building permits, typically, yes. We have always required that they have the permit on site, that it be posted in a visible location. It is a little harder on demolition permits where they're tearing the building down, and site permits. A lot of times there really isn't anything active to post the permits to, but we are, based on the concerns we received from you recently, trying to start enforcing that for those types of permits as well.
Because when we show up to a neighborhood association meeting, the first thing they ask is, what's going there, what happened, why are they tearing down the building, is the building historic, or any of those questions arise and I can't answer, and that's one thing that as a council member, you never want to go to a neighborhood meeting and say, I don't know.
Right, understood.
And I see that we also have, a couple of building inspector FTEs out, and everything that I'm asking for, you guys already have it here, to try to, and we have some permit supervisors. So everybody will be able to go out on site and you'll have some people on ground to be able to answer those questions for us.
Yeah, it's typically the building inspectors and the site development construction inspectors who are the people who are on site, actively inspecting the work being built.
Okay, thank you so much.
So what I'll ask, Julie, why don't we look into doing as we're looking into how we can require that posting even for demolition and site plan where there's not anything structural there to post it to, but maybe we can require
Right.
some type of a posting out in front.
Exactly.
And continue to build out that public-facing tool, which I think really is a phenomenal tool, and we'll continue to build onto it to incorporate as much information as we can.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's one where you don't have to know the name of the project, you just gotta know where, you got
Where
a
it
question, you can pull it up on the map and be like, okay, that's what's happening at the
Right.
end of my block.
So Jay, also, is there a way for us to streamline with parking services and our police, and also with code enforcement about parking in STVR areas? Because I know every house normally has 2 parking spaces.
Yeah.
But when you have a STVR and you have 18 people show up to a house, and that put a pressure on the entire street.
Right.
So,
one of the things, so we've been working on this issue for a little while. We've got a few more things to tackle through in terms of due diligence, but a few things we're going to be bringing to council hopefully within the year. One, we've got the parking matters study, which is starts to address a lot of those, and it's focused on the areas where we allow STVRs as well, and what are the parking constraints there. I'm going to tell you that like it was years ago when we did the first parking matter study, there's going to be some people that aren't happy about it, some businesses or some institutions. So it's going to be a difficult thing, and the more we the more we make exceptions to our parking, the harder it is to enforce and comply. So let me just put that in your head. The other thing that we're working on is we want to bring in some automated camera-assisted parking enforcement. You've seen this in other places where you've got parking enforcement with cameras on either side, and they're running the plates as they go down the street, and it's going to alert who's been there for too long, et cetera, who doesn't have a license to park there. And that's something that we're working on with parking services as well as code compliance to help us and with sanitation, our street cleaning services, to be able to better enforce our parking laws. But we've got a few more things to go through in terms of due diligence before we're ready to invest in that kind of technology and operation, but we hope it'll be this year.
And we definitely want to give a special shout out to Ms. Lotson and the rest of their team for looking and listening to what the community has been asking for and realigning with the neighborhood associations to figure out what we're going to do, especially at one of our flagship Waters Avenue corridor, and to try to mimic what we have over there in certain areas so that we can continue with the gateway process. Special events, thank you, Pagliaro, for working with Linda and us to create a dashboard so that we know not only us but the community also know what's going on, what's on the radar, to street closures and just like the marathon the other day that went well, wonderful. And thank you, Faith, for the updates. But I look forward to working with you guys as we work with the Nightlife Manager program. I've always had some apprehension about it, so I'm going to continue to go through the process and figure out what's happening in other cities. I will be looking at nightlife as it pertains to Savannah while we're in Utah and see what they're doing in Utah as far as nightlife, and I'll bring back whatever I can.
Yeah, I think that's probably not the right.
No comparison.
You'll be hanging out the Mormons, huh?
No, nightlife. I'm talking about nightlife.
Other people bring ideas.
Yeah,
and that's
other
what
ideas.
Oh.
I mean,
okay.
they have a basketball team there, and how they're parking and how their police are working in concert with those to make sure that nightlife moves.
Yeah,
So I want to make sure,
absolutely.
because nightlife in Savannah is a whole different animal. So we
Yeah,
want to take
it
that
is.
very, very seriously.
And
Need some Mormons
and
up
there,
here.
there
Mormon
is
Tabernacle.
in the proposed budget, there's a reclassification of a position for nighttime management services. It's not only to help us think more critically about our nighttime economy and nighttime activities as it relates to entertainment districts, which I know you were involved when we went through the RHI program and others. But it's also really the more fundamental approach to that, and the thing that we're going to start with first before we move into any kind of nighttime economy coordination is really just making sure that we have clear coordination on all the activities that the city does at night,
Right.
or where we need to have activities where we're not having activities. So it's really going to be a position in an office and an initiative that looks at the city from 6 p.m. until 4 a.m. in the morning, and thinks through critically what else needs to be out on the street besides, police and fire, et cetera. What's already out on the street, how can we better coordinate, how can we better know and understand what's happening in those hours so that we can better respond and govern to them.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderwoman Wilder Bryan.
I'm just going to be really brief. Just wanted to thank you and your team. But, when I worked at EOA, they were in partnership with some of the housing authority, and when there is no money, we need to be more creative. And part of the problems that I have in the 3rd District is not just in the 3rd District. Most of the single mothers or two-parent households, the problem that they have is daycare and housing. We have these centers, right? I was talking to Ms. Lotson and one of the owners of a development here. We're trying to make sure that we match what she's doing over there with small businesses, and putting some daycare in these areas and creating a partnership. Mr. Bates, don't go, because you're an integral part in this. We want you to give us some mission and scope about how we can change the quality of life for parents especially in these, Ms. Hester's here with Housing Authority, she's open to not reinventing the wheel, but keeping it really some resilience and some vitality in the neighborhoods, and seeing if we could put in our centers some daycare opportunities. It's doable. I think now more than ever is crucial with all this funding that's going away. If I have a plan that I'd like for you to put some legalese in it and talk to the city manager about incorporating daycare activities in our centers. EOA used to do it. Even the Savannah Mercy Housing offered a space for have a police officer there. I don't know what happened to that in light of the shortness in there. Those are some things that should be a priority. We can't wait until they put security there, you know. And I'm so glad Gunther got away with the dummy cars. People know when you put those blank cars in our neighborhoods, they're blank cars in our neighborhoods. So thank you, Gunther, for stopping that. We want actual people in those cars, right? Talking to people and not cars put in there. So, Mr. City Manager, to circle back, I think we do a disservice again by having these beautiful buildings. Buildings don't save our children. The programs do. So I want to, when you say improve the quality of life by raising municipal service standards and expand economic access to opportunity and vitality to all, we need to reach out to some of these single mothers and put them to work and offer daycare in some of those facilities that we have. Thank you, Miranda, for working with that. And thank you for the pieces that we're putting, recognizing you and Luciana, and East Savannah will get 5 markers for what's going on in their community, and I appreciate it. You too, Liddy. Y'all continue to, we gotta learn how to pivot and be innovative and save our money by being creative, and I think that would be a forward move when we talk about housing and daycare. That's where most of the money goes for the people in our community. Thank you so much for allowing me to say that.
I've long advocated for that there were 4 pillars to sustainability: employment, housing, transportation, and childcare. And so I pushed that for the Georgia Municipal Association and served on a statewide committee to help find ways or best practices to make childcare more accessible, more available, and more affordable. Likewise, when the RISE initiative started with CETA, I insisted that one of the independent pillars of that was to deal particularly with childcare for the same reasons. I mean, you could have the best opportunities in the world, you could have the best transportation, the best housing, but if you don't have someone to take care of your kids,
yes, sir,
that is, you know. And so I think to that end, Jay has been involved in those discussions, and we're really looking at things, Bridget as well, about how do we create zoning opportunities for more neighborhood daycares? How do we create more employer-led or employer-offered daycares? So I think to your point, which is very, very valid, I think we're moving really in that space. Obviously, childcare is a huge, huge, huge liability.
Yes, sir.
And so how do we do it in a way with people who are responsible? How do we do it in a way that there's some education involved and not just babysitting? But then how do we do it in a way that is even on off hours? I mean, you know, usually, you know, from 8 to 5, 7 to 5, 6 to 5, but what about those who work, you know, evening hours, or with the Hyundai plant advent, when they go to 3 shifts, what happens for people who need to have 11 to 7? So I think, you know, that is kind of where we're moving with that, to your point. The thing I wanted to do before I go to Alderman Shabazz.
To add to that, sir,
yes, ma'am.
We actually had a program at WW Law that we
Right.
worked with Greenbrier, and I think that those are some of the things that we need to incorporate back in good business and good government. And thank you for suggesting that,
Yeah.
Mayor.
No
Appreciate
problem.
that.
The other thing I wanted to, for me, was that I want our economic development department to get more in the actual theoretical practice of economic development. Essentially, what happened is that CETA was the economic development arm, and a couple of years ago, they kind of said, we're just doing industry-related stuff, which really left the more traditional things of economic development, building and strengthening businesses. Forecasting and things. I mean, we'll say, okay, well, it's forecast, we're bringing TOMA, this is for the region, but not necessarily for Savannah. How do we foster retail businesses, regional competitiveness? Particularly when you look at the businesses that we have, the storefronts that we have that are empty. And they're empty for a long time. Yet there are businesses that we find from like our launch initiative that need spaces, and how do we get them there? So, I mean, I think that, we say economic development, but we're really not doing traditional economic development things. And I liken that to SEMA. SEMA does emergency management. But we also have our own emergency management development to deal with the specific in particular, while SEMA deals with the more global. And so, although, CETA does what it does, they're not necessarily looking in Savannah's best interest specifically, because they are looking regionally. And so I would like for us to figure, and again, it's not necessarily right now, but we really need to be trying to vector into a way where we are performing the historic and traditional economic development duties for our city to help us better forecast, for us to better, once we launch businesses, how do we keep them from year 2, 3, and beyond? How do we be able to, those types of things.
I think you're absolutely right, and a pivot that we're trying to make. Years ago, Alderman Palumbo gave me this analogy that I always think about, where CETA is kind of the big game hunter, and they're going out and bringing in big industries and creating big jobs, and that the city of Savannah ought to be, our economic development arm ought to be growing those seeds and being the kind of growing and cultivating these businesses here. And I think that's so I always think of that metaphor, because I think it's really helpful for us to think about in terms of what that division of labor is and how we become better cultivators of local businesses and business corridors. And so I think, when we think about the Canal District that was just adopted, when we think about the South Side retrofit plan, when we think about corridors like Waters Avenue, corridors that we're about to get started on Skidaway Avenue. So I think it's not only those, Bay Street, another corridor that there's money for improvement on. I think it's not only those streetscapes, but how do we create those Main Street programs and help with, whether it's facade programs, whether it's small business supports. We create, these, I know opportunity zones, but also there's enterprise development zones that we can create. And every month I'm signing waivers for businesses in those zones to, waive their tap-in fees and waive their business licensing fees, et cetera. That's a part of that program. So we do need to do more of those things. We're pivoting to think more about that. Of course, we're going to continue to support, entrepreneurs and people who want to get licenses and credentials and help their own personal career growth. But thinking really through our kind of Main Street and neighborhood corridor, commercial corridor development, helping to make sure that we've got, main streets in all of these neighborhoods that used to be thriving commercial centers, to help them continue to be and to strengthen, to support our neighborhood. So it's absolutely the right pivot, and something that we're thinking through. We're doing a few steps, that the Harvard Bloomberg program that we attended, Miranda and Faye and I, along with Source Coastal and CETA. We've got a plan called Savannah Thrives, another GIS map layer, which was a big product about how we're connecting, really targeted neighborhoods where we want to see, more mobility, increased mobility, and then where those mobility opportunities were, including those wraparound supports that you said. So we're building that, the foundations of that pivot, and I'm probably answering too much on that question, but it's absolutely the right thing that we need to be doing, and something we're going to be focused on. So
I mean, also for the Savannah Development and Renewal Authority was doing some of that stuff in the absence that we weren't. And with SDRA kind of going through its transition, it's a good time for us to get back in that space. And it might be big game hunters. So, we have big game hunters for us. You know, let's go ahead and get that Apple store in Savannah. Let's go ahead and get that Trader Joe's in Savannah. Let's go ahead and, you know, the things that we determine that we want.
Yeah.
Locally, they're not necessarily industry, but we're able to now talk directly to those places and say, here's a space that you can be in, and be able to kind of keep all of our hands on all of the plugs at one time. So Alderwoman Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank you, Chief DeMessimo, for your leadership with your team and just tremendous work that was done in the 5th District and far west of the 5th is where in the entire city of Savannah, where there's land, where the land is left to develop. And I just want to just give a big shout out to our urban planning department with Mrs. Liddy, who really has been meeting the rubber to the road this year in all of that development that is going on, the annexations and everything the good work that's been going on, and also with keeping the community with the connectiveness and the togetherness and the conversations and the transparency. It's been some years, but I believe we got it right. So thank you so much for all of your work over there. Mr. Henry, with traffic calming, there is just one bullet point. There's a street that I'm just, even today, on Amaranth between Hopkins and MLK or Exchange, going to the east, coming from Hopkins Street on Amaranth. Can you please check out how we can get some traffic calming on their applications from residents? They're in the office. So please, if you could do that. Also, I wanted to mention at our last city council meeting, this is my last comment, is that the tremendous report that was given today, when a small business who comes in as a subcontractor, who becomes licensed as a DBE or operating as a minority woman business enterprise business for several years. And then when we hear the news today, I just don't want it to be short stuff in here and small conversation, because it's huge. When those companies can move from being a small business company or MWBE, DBE company and become a prime contractor, that is front page news on TV and print and social media. So I just want to commend the city of Savannah for the work from our economic development department. Mrs. Lotson, and your leadership, thank you so much, ma'am, on how we have kept our hands on the plow. And it's been some years in making sure we kept our hands on the plow of our small businesses in here to grow them. With this report in this room today, we got a number of companies have become prime contractors. They're not second tier, they're not third tier, they are number 1 tier. And I take my hats, kudos off to our community development department. Last thing on that, Mrs. Lotson, thank you so much for your text, and here we go. On our city council agenda, our last agenda, there was a wonderful purchasing item that with your leadership and Mrs. Lotson work and everything, bringing it forward for our disadvantaged businesses and our MWBEs. And if you don't mind, Chief, for Ms. Lotson, the city manager, to just say 2 or 3 words. I wasn't up to it and talking about it at the city council meeting, but I'm pretty okay today. And if you could talk about what the city has purchased another front page news story. The city has purchased software in order to help to alleviate a problem that has been existing for decades in the business industry, in small business, especially in small businesses, where our prime contractors, general contractors, sometimes when they get paid, it doesn't always flow properly down to our subcontractors. But Mrs. Lotson and Chief Messimo, if you all can just tell us just briefly about what the city has, we voted on it on Thursday, just a little bit about it. Thank you, ma'am.
So we had the opportunity to incorporate technology into our workflow. And so we have done that, and with the approved purchase, we will be automating our daily workflow systems and our ability to process certifications, provide reporting, as well as contract management for our contractors participating on city projects.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alderwoman Bell, then Alderwoman Lanier.
Just echoing
Alderman Palumbo.
the request, Mr. Henry, that Mayor Pro Tem gave you about Amaranth. I just received a complaint on traffic on that corridor just this past Saturday, so I would appreciate it, as I reported to her, if you would look into that.
Alderwoman Lanier.
Please, you can go now. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Manager, what is our current budget, our credit rating?
Is AA+.
Fair, okay. I asked that because I know in the past we had a discussion and a problem with our credit rating that could have improved based on our reserve or poverty rating. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because in this book here on page 10, we're looking at the demographics. And as we could see up at the top of that page, clearly in the county, there are more impoverished people living in the city. 13% up from the national and the county. If you look at these numbers here, we could see a concentration of impoverished people in the city of Savannah. Down at the bottom here on this graphic, I just wanted to mention the 36% on this first pie chart. It represents the under $50,000 households. And right next to it, 47% represent inside of Savannah. This was the MSA. And the colors changed. That would have been a good idea had those under 50,000 stayed the same color, so you could get a good comparison of how that piece of the pie grow or differentiate. But because we have this poverty problem concentration in the city of Savannah, when you look at the whole Chatham County and the state and federal, at this point, we really need a rock star economic development department because of these numbers that have been persisting. In economic development, we have an international focus. We have a national focus in economic development. We have state focus. We have a state economic development. Then when you come down and you have a county or sometimes regional, or both, in our case. These regional focus, and they do different things. And all of these levels have a different purview. And we finally got a city focus economic development, and we have community level entities, CDEs, CDCs. And if every one of those levels act in accords, they'll all be partners and working one with the other. I don't expect for the city economic development to have international economic development aspirations. There are people who take care of that. And so therefore, I guess first we need to look at, like was said earlier, best practices around the country on city level economic development, so they won't be trying to do community level economic development there's a place for all of that. 21 years ago this season, I founded a community development corporation called Ivory Bay, CDC, in this city. And it's been a heavy load lifting and educating this community to understand what community development actually looks like from a neighborhood or community perspective, and that is an asset-based approach. So it's really good hearing the conversations that's bubbling up around the city now and the state about economic development on this level, asset-based, how we leverage community assets, how we identify community assets. And this work should be hand in hand with the city economic development. I know we're trying to create some things, but it's very interesting in having to be overlooked and left out and not worked with when you know you were instrumental in teaching the approach. Because when we started out, we were focusing on poverty reduction. And as a generational neighborhood organizer, I knew that's not the direction we needed to be going in the early 2000s. We need to be focused on wealth creation and asset-based wealth creation. And we're moving in that direction, and it just thrills me. But to continue to be overlooked and left out, that's kind of interesting too. But I understand it, I really do. So in your department, we are working on these plans and these future land use plans, and we're tweaking these plans. And I heard us say earlier that we are looking at, I think, a River Street plan, but we really have to focus on, one time we were saying that we were getting out the business of creating these plans. We can't do that. We need more area plans. And then the work of doing the long-range plans wouldn't be as difficult if we fill in these blanks with these area plans. So that's an area we need to focus on more. I know we're capable of doing it because we've done it in the past in partnership with the MPC. I don't think we got the manpower on board to do it efficiently. We have some good people working in that area. I think we need to focus more on that area with resources, manpower, human resources, physical resources, because it's a lot of work that we need to do in that area. And we need to look at that future land use plan and make sure that we have an opportunity as policymakers here to work with that and tweak that before we send anything up to the state. And in our sustainability department, well, let me say this, we need to look at our partnerships and our stakeholders and partners in economic development and make sure we align properly there. In our sustainability department, it's sustainability, environment and sustainability. I think we need to concentrate a little bit more on the environmental piece. I think we're doing a good job on the sustainability aspect of it, but I think we're doing a poor job. And I think really the county and the city is allowing a large portion of our community to be subjected to environmental injustice. And we've been quiet and looking the other way, and I don't think we could no longer afford to do that. We know what's happening, but we just been very quiet about not dealing with this because these are marginalized, low-wealth, underserved people that are suffering from this environmental injustice that we experience on the west side. So we need to put more focus on our EJ and our environmental piece as we continue to improve and build on the sustainability piece. And traffic calming leaves much to be desired in the first district. Thank you all for what you have done. There was 0 traffic calming devices in 2020. Now we got at least in the teens, maybe. But there's some areas in dire need of traffic calming in some neighborhoods that still doesn't have any traffic calming. And I'm curious about what's going on with the logistics technology corridor. That's a wealth of possibility there that we have not leveraged since that was created by the state. And I know there was some tweaks made to the area, but I still think, I know you all are looking at that and probably discussing it, but it's been laying pretty dormant for quite some time when it's a wealth of opportunity there and to partner with the state on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Palumbo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Oh, that'll hit you in the feelings. Thank you, Chief, for your presentation and the entire team. You all did great, and I just wanted to weigh in because I live this life. I'm so excited that we're talking about economic development because economic development is fun. It's exciting. You see emerging businesses, but I just have a couple of pearls of wisdom and some advice to lend. We have a very valuable role to play in the ecosystem because of things that the city of Savannah can do that only the city of Savannah can do. Helping accelerate businesses to do business with the city, improving that capacity, improving the contracting requirements to see that more contractors are now prime contractors because we have a $600 million a year corporation. Having entrepreneurs the ability to tap into that incredible capital is an enormous opportunity. But a lot of it's looking inwards. We're going to need a lot of help on the policy side of things that only we can do. And that includes parking requirements and variances and height, massing, taxes, and so many of that very granular work that can help assist entrepreneurs in such a big way. And we've got to be a member of the chorus. We've talked about the many layers of the economic development cake. CETA has to do its thing and be the tip of the spear. There's the Georgia Center of Innovation. It's so much more. But I think if we hone in on our focus areas, which are geographical, we've got a focus area in West Savannah, we've got a focused area in East Savannah, and now we're having an emerging focus area on the south side. So finding those different ways. And the last tidbit I'll throw in there, since we talked about childcare, is taking a look at some of our nearby partners that have more relaxed requirements on how many students and young people you can fit into a single dwelling. I believe the county has a higher limit. And I don't want to mess with the formula until we have some policy analysis to make sure that we do that right. But I'll be looking ahead to 2026 and having some help on those fronts. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Chief, and the PEDS team. So we appreciate y'all and the work that you do.
Thank you.
No, don't step down yet. Oh, you can step down.
Yeah. This time. So now we're going to hear from Community Services and with our interim chief, Melissa Carter, who's been doing double duty as chief here and as budget director. We'll take questions for Community Services. And then we're going to hear from two chiefs, Joe and Seisha, back to back, and we'll take questions about both Information Public Affairs and Management Services after their joint.
We'll do that as one, right?
Yes, we'll do that as one.
Okay.
So with that, I'll turn it over to the very capable Melissa Carter.
Well, thank you so much. I do realize we are running about a couple hours behind schedule, so Community Services will try to help catch us up a little bit. So I think we all would agree that Community Services is at the forefront of improving our community's quality of life, advancing equity, as well as fostering resilience through inclusive and accessible programs. We do this through a workforce of 241 employees across all of our neighborhood parks, resource centers, as well as our community centers and pools, led by an expert leadership team that I've had the pleasure of getting to know a lot better over the last few months. I'll introduce them just for, of course, the media that's watching. To my right and your left is Mr. Martin Freddy, our housing director. You can clap for Martin. Yeah, I know he never gets enough of that accolade. And next to him is the illustrious Carrie Reed, our Human Services Director. Next to her, Stephanie Capel, our IACH Executive Director, right? Really a catalyst and keeping the glue together. And to her left and my right, Stuart Miller, our Cultural Arts Director for our Cultural Arts and Resources programs, followed by Jimmy Johnson, the Director of the ONE's Office, the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, and last but not least, Nick, I just learned his name really is Nikki, but Nick Roberts, Nick Roberts, our Recreation and Leisure Services Director. Now, the Community Services team utilizes 2 primary funding streams coupled together. That's significantly our general fund, but also they use our community development block grant funds as well. So, and they in turn, are recipients of grant dollars, but also are the administrators of grant awards into the community itself. So, I would like to say that primarily the Community Services team is going to support 5 of the 6 priority goals, but generally we are all going to be high performing as we conduct that work and administer that work throughout the community. Now, and I won't go through those. So I'd like to kind of go over some of the accomplishments though, because as you know, the manager said, you know, we got an investment and you invested in us last year for the 25 budget. We want to kind of give some feedback on what we did with that investment, how we turned that investment around. So over the course of this year, and we're certainly not done yet, we have assisted 90 individuals in earning job certifications through our training programs, with 16 of those resulting in pay raises and promotions for those recipients. That brings a graduate total of 332 individuals that have directly benefited from human services programming. We have had 734 attendees across 60 leadership sessions between April through October of this year alone. And within our neighborhood services and community impact programs, almost 2,900 people have received neighborhood-based services at our 2 resource centers, and 66 neighborhood association leaders have been engaged in our mini conference focused on networking and collaboration. A lot of the things that I've been hearing throughout this session today. And so one of our greatest accomplishments this year is that through our partnerships with 48 nonprofits in this community, services have been leveraged to over 21,000 individuals. And so investments in our young people and those unsheltered has also led us connecting with over 600 youth through our annual Youth Summit, soft skills and work readiness training programs, and through the adoption of the encampment management policy we recently received an update on from the Consortium of Care. Now, I know that we all just received a wonderful update on the progress our housing team and our Rockstar partners are leveraging through the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund, but it's definitely worth repeating here that we have exceeded our investment goals from both public and private investments, and are definitely impacting those that are affected by the affordable housing crisis. So as you know, 40% of households fall within that ALICE report, meaning that they fall below the poverty line categories. And in our community, fair market rents are ranging from $1,431 for a 1-bedroom apartment to $2,131 for a 3-bedroom. A low-wage earner would need to work over 190 hours per week in order to afford rent at those rates. And so this is what the impact of our investments through the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund and those partners are so important to our community. Now, of course, the transformative projects that we love mentioning and love to remind everyone of is that the Dundee Cottages and Cove at Dundee was collaborative and extremely innovative for our community, resulting from 4 different revenue streams. And so those revenue stream sources came from both public and private, totaling a little over $6.4 million. So if you would like to donate to the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund, every $1 the donation has been proven, right, Martin, proven to leverage $8 to support individuals and families in need of affordable and workforce housing. So if anyone that is in the room or watching, please, if you want to donate even $1, please see Martin Freddy or Anita Smith-Dixon with our Community Housing Services Agency. So in our focus areas of violence prevention community mentorship and neighborhood engagement. 13 justice-impacted youth within this community have participated in our Youth Employment and Violence Intervention 8-week program that engaged them in wellness activities, academic development, and exploring different career fields for their consideration. 50% of them have either graduated or earned their GED certification and are currently employed. And so as a part of our Youth Violence and Reduction Initiative, 14 and 18-year-olds are given an employment option that keeps them engaged in positive activities while providing them with income. And over this past year, 10 neighborhoods have participated in that program, and 83 youth were employed over this past summer across our NIT teams, and this is on top of those 7 violence reduction grant awards and partners that have engaged another 700 of our community youth. One of our newest and most popular programs would be the Yazoo Young Artists of Savannah United program that saw record turnouts on their two most popular performances that were free to the public. But also I'd like to tout that we have also started a new Grow and Glow Link Up connection that has also proven to be very engaging and very well appreciated by our community. And so the Recreation Department, as we've talked about recreation and how impactful it can be with our youth, has also launched the city's first girls youth flag football league. And that's a milestone in both gender equity and youth engagement for our community. This program was fully developed, conceptualized, branded, and administered by our Rec and Leisure service employees on Team Savannah, and they're very proud of this effort and the result of it. This was in addition to employing 52 high school students to serve as lifeguards, as well as summer camp counselors and athletic assistants throughout the summer program, and where they also received income. The department's program innovation, their capital investments and administering of capital improvements to our facilities, community partnerships like this have contributed to our Recreation and Services Department receiving the GRPA Rec Department as the State of Georgia's Agency of the Year. And so I think we should be very proud of that as well. Now, our cultural arts team is also making strides by increasing our participation of the Cultural Arts Center. We have hosted 24,513 total participants and attendees across 300 programs. And we have awarded cultural contribution funding to 20 organizations supporting 29 community art projects and 3,005 services so far. That increase in our participation of our facility is a 20% increase this year over last year. And I think I heard one of the alderpersons mention we should be making sure that we have optimal use of our facilities, and I think Cultural Resources is showing that they have the ability to grow and increase that utilization for the facility that they administer. So I'm going to move forward to our 2026 initiatives and strategies and plans, and identifying the key areas of work to be done as we developed our budget requests as a community services team. The following strategies and initiatives are being proposed with a community impact and a results focus. And so our strategies support goals and objectives within public safety, equitable community development, and economic access priorities are allocated partly within our Human Services Division. $5.5 million is proposed in this budget plan to maintain and enhance our annual youth summit, our capacity building and training programs, and to maintain our homelessness support programs through grants and continued investments in our homeless day centers. It does also include a $1 million proposed allocation set aside for our community partnership grant awards to local agencies that are outlined in your budget book on pages 257 through 263 of the proposal. We view these investments to offer leadership training, collaboration with local and developing nonprofits, and to support our neighborhood associations as key strategies to advance community empowerment and well-being. Major housing initiatives are outlined here to support strategic priority goals 2 and 3 of Savannah GPS, which are investing in equitable community development and resiliency and expanding economic access. A continued focus to continue support for and growth of the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund, to continue leveraging those dollars to actually make a meaningful impact through our partners to increase the affordable and workforce housing inventory within our community and even throughout our county. And so we fully expect to complete construction and renovations in 2026 on a total of 108 apartments next year, as well as begin new construction of an additional 105 low-income housing tax credit units and implement 2 developments that are being designed, Fairgrounds and Dawes. To accomplish this, our housing and neighborhood services programs are proposed to receive funding of $3 million, plus an additional $3 million contribution from our general fund to support the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund, which is an increase above the current year budget. So when it comes to the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, our budget proposal of $1.9 million is needed to both increase our youth success and decrease youth violence across 4 priority subsets of the GPS public safety goal. Specifically, ones will strive to enhance our path forward, our Young Artists of Savannah United programs, and Grow and Glow to support SPD efforts to drive down violent crime stats and preventable deaths and improve our collective sense of security. Our violence reduction grants will sponsor a total of 13 nonprofits through our budget request of an additional $250,000. That can be viewed on pages 264 through 269 of your budget documents. And our neighborhood improvement teams have proven to be a growing mainstay in our programming, providing income as an incentive to our youth while promoting neighborhood engagement and instilling pride in our community. Recreation and Leisure Services is to propose to have the largest year-over-year influx of funding allocations in this year's budget, with an allocation totaling $15.4 million. This will fund service enhancements to improve operational capacity for athletic field maintenance and assume operation of the Board of Education's Jenkins High Swimming Pool, and integrating the Jenkins site into our existing aquatics program will leverage current infrastructure and management systems, allowing efficient use of staff, equipment, and resources, and provide additional added opportunities for our youth through volunteerism and leadership within our aquatics operations. And last but not least, our Cultural Arts Division. In that program, we are proposing for 2026 an allocation of $2.4 million as a part of our budget request, which is relatively flat with the current year. Although we are expanding some part-time staff hours and instructional hours in order to keep and grow that utilization rate for the Cultural Arts Center, we're keeping largely a flat budget from this year to next. We have also enhanced our Weave a Dream program offering through grant awards. As we saw this year, we ran out of our Weave a Dream grant funding allocation within the first quarter of 2025. So we are proposing in this budget to expand that a little bit by $27,000 to give us a total of $50,000 for Weave a Dream grant awards in 2026, and that is subject to the council's approval. And as we discussed last week, we do have some provisions in this proposed budget for the public art master plan that's still pending decisions and direction. Thank you all for your feedback last week on November 13th. Now, community services is a catalyst for connection, well-being, and inclusive growth. Each initiative will be communicated in 2026, not just as a program, but also as a story of impact, because these are people that we're working for, emphasizing our human connection, community empowerment, and transformation. In 2026, we propose several strategies and initiatives to support the GPS priorities, and we are committed to them with your support for our budget requests. Finally, our alignment with Savannah GPS carries with us 4 overarching pillars to approach each strategy that we've discussed, each initiative and each program and service outlined under our employ as services offerings to our customers. They are, number 1, stability and independence, helping Savannah residents stay rooted in their neighborhoods and meeting today's needs, building tomorrow's independence. Number 2, safety, compassion, and resilience, from risk to resilience, preventing violence by investing in people. Number 3, creative and culturally vibrant. As we heard you say last week, your voice, your stories, your city in color. And last but not least, thriving people and thriving places, connecting communities where Savannah plays, grows, and thrives. Thank you so much for the opportunity to represent this illustrious team of Team Savannah. We're open for questions.
Thank you so much.
Lunch break, right.
Thank you so much.
All right, good?
Yes,
I
yes, sir.
saw Alderman Bell, and I see Alderman Leggett.
You want to go first?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
I was just saying thank you.
Stop it.
Thank you, Ms. Carter, for your presentation. I was looking at some of the cultural arts presentations or grant amounts, and I was wondering if we are careful to make sure that the requestors are not duplicating services that's being offered to another entity, particularly the school district. So without being specific, I hope we look at that and make sure we're not funding activities that are being funded by another agency in town.
So we will definitely look at that. We do run all of our grant applications through the smell test across all of our grant award programs for the city to avoid any particular agency being able to double dip, if you will, from the city itself. We will make a concerted effort to look for whether those agencies that are also requesting funding from the city, whether they are getting funding for the same program from another agency.
And not necessarily the very same, but similar if they are serving the same constituency base. You understand what I'm saying? If they're serving the same group of people.
The same
Yeah,
group.
children in specific, yes, ma'am.
Okay. We will put that on the parking lot. We will have to conduct a review because we did not look at it from that angle.
But you understand how.
I understand what
important
you're
that is.
saying, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson?
1 second, Alderman Leggett, Alderwoman Miller Blakely.
Thank you.
Alderwoman?
Oh, I thought you was.
Yeah, he yielded to you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Carter, I'm looking at the agency name, program descriptions, and I'm just interested in knowing who all applied for these grants. Can I have a list of everybody that applied?
Yes.
Because I'm looking at legacy nonprofits, and I was just wondering, I thought a couple of years ago when we were doing our budget that we said it wasn't our job, if I can remember, I think the mayor said, it wasn't our job to give nonprofits funding every single year. I believe, didn't you mention something like that, Mayor Johnson? I believe you said that.
I said it wasn't our role to be the sustainer of nonprofits.
Exactly. So I'm just looking here and I see where, since I've been on council, several of these nonprofits are continuing to get. So I would just like to know who applied. I would like to see the list.
Oh, Alderwoman, would you like that list for community partnerships as well as
All
violence reduction
nonprofits.
and ACE?
Yes, ma'am.
Just want to clarify that.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
just to that end now, 'cause I want to make sure that my comments were not misinterpreted. if someone is doing the work, they're doing the work. I mean, I think every year, each agency has to come both on the cultural and the community partnership side, has to make their case. And Carrie and her team, I mean, they hard. They are hard. And they go do numbers and they go do deliverables. And so I don't mind, local nonprofits getting the money if they're doing the work. I think the concern for me would just be, you're just getting it because you've always gotten it. And I've always warned nonprofits, and Taffany will tell you, I would say, do not base your entire budget off of funds coming from the city of Savannah. That you have to be able to be aggressive enough to go out and find other sources of funding. So I just want to make sure that, in that question and in quoting me, that's what I was talking about. Again, we want people who are going to do the work. And there's some nonprofits who have been doing consistent work here every year, and if they come and they make the case, this is not a political decision, it's an administrative decision based on data, then I think, obviously deserves the support. If they're not doing it, I think Carrie and them they'll shut them down quick. And there've been some legacy folks that have gotten, they didn't make the next round, so. Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And also, thank you, Melissa. I think the overwhelming thing that's been ringing all day long is one, quality of life. And also we all want to make sure that the programs that we are funding is going to reflect the ask. So when we start talking about what the vision is, we ask this question, what's going to be the vision of leisure services? And how leisure services is going to continue to impact not only the kids that are on the football field, and that's another comment coming up, but the neighborhoods which surround the neighborhoods, the community centers in which we house our young people.
And so, Alderman, we're taking the Savannah GPS plans and thinking about them holistically for community impact. What we're doing for 2026 in this allocation, our budget request is based on, is how do we maintain those programs that we have in place right now. We have quite a diverse group of programs. Take the data that we're seeing in those programs and figuring out how we then grow that impact in order to report that back under our Savannah GPS plan. We technically don't have a lot of new programs coming in this budget request because we have seen some level of success in the programming that we've been doing. We're trying to scale up and scale them further. I believe that the only new sports-related programs that are coming for 2026 and incorporated in this budget request are to bring on some additional sports items such as boxing, if I'm not mistaken, girls basketball, as well as karate programs. And then, of course, to grow our aquatics division.
Well, let me stop you right there. We have to make sure that when I say, again, programs that reflect the ask, we have to make sure that we have multiple versions of success when we talk about the programs that made us. I came up through the leisure service under Mr. Baker, Mr. Shearhouse, and Earl Etheridge. They were the cornerstones who created the programs, and I think we veered away from those programs. And boxing and all of that, those are programs that may work in the future, but what I've seen currently is majority of our football teams who we have in our leisure service have starting to go to a travel team, and that's become, and I think that we took our eye off the ball, and I think those programs really do need to be reevaluated and brought back into the system, because if we don't, I don't feel comfortable with $15 million going back into leisure services until we realign what we're trying to do. And also within that vision, we have to look at how we are upgrading the facilities in which we're asking our kids to come to. And it's a big umbrella of an undertaking that we're talking about, not only just the vision of what we're asking from our kids to come into the facility, but the facilities itself. I went into WW Law last week, and I know we're gonna do some work in there. And I looked in the gym, and I seen the mold that was in the gym and the development that we're doing in the kitchen. I've been asking for that for years, so thank you for that. But the issue that I found when I went in there, the moving of the Eastside Concerned Citizens room, they were supposed to move from one area to the next, but when I found out that some of their vital items that was in that room was trashed, but some of what you guys thought was important was kept. I think each and every item there, all the vital statistics and everything, because if anything out of that room was thrown away, any one object was thrown away, that was a vital item that was put there by Freddie Patrick and the people who actually gave us our start. So I think every member of this body right here has a vested interest in what the Eastside Concerned Citizens was. And also the $1.9 million that we are asking to go into the ONES program, I don't have a major issue with that, but I'm still on top of programs that reflect the ask. I really need to see the work. And you know, I'm a stickler on what the ONES was. If we had a director once before, I don't have a problem with the current director, but I want to make sure that we're putting this type of money in the programs. We want to make sure the programs reflect the ask. And we have to do that, and we're going to continue to have a conversation with the city manager and his staff to make sure that the undertaking that we're asking is going to be there, because we put a lot of money in into Delaware Center. We just filled in the pool, and we're going to make sure that the seniors that have programs over there at the Delaware Center is going to have their splash pad over there, and they're going to continue to be a part of that programming. But we don't want to take away from their quality of life by moving the people that they're comfortable with because of whatever issues they may be having within the center. But we want to be able to stock our center with the best employees we can, fund the programs that has been historically working, and continue to push all of these developments through, and make sure when we say that we are the Department of Fun and we have Recreation Reimagined on our forethought, we want to do those things and say those things, because if you fail to realize it, we all who live within the community, and what Linda said, some of those community centers that close, everybody else go home up 16 or outside of the service area. They don't see those young people that are playing football in the street, or they miss out on the programs that's happening within our community centers. We have to reinvest back into those community centers and be very, 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 very determined to make sure that the programs that we provide our young people in our community are geared directly towards them. It's good to teach them how to box, but the life skills that they learn within the community centers are always going to be paramount over everything else.
Well, let me tell you that the ask was mine for boxing, for karate, and for women's basketball.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm not saying you said it had to reflect the ask. I made the ask because because it has been proven, particularly with men, young men, particularly men that might be just as involved or impacted, the discipline, and I'm one of them, that I learned from boxing and karate. There was a marked decrease in violent incidents in school and everywhere else because they've learned the discipline. In terms of female basketball, we started this year with girls flag football. I think that females can do things other than cheer. And with the popularity of female basketball, with the popularity of us getting a female professional team, therein lies an opportunity, and with working with neighbors from across the entire city, these are three elements that I've heard that they would like. And again, you know, I think the advent of travel teams have come up because there's a lot of money in travel teams. And so these folks who are in that travel teams space are able to get the best players and take them, and there's a lot of money involved with that, AAU and a variety of other things. You know, so I just wanted you to know when you said about the ask, that was what he asked, is that we need the opportunity to be able to diversify. Everybody doesn't play football.
But I think we have to first perfect.
I think we have to do both. I think we can do both. I don't think
now.
Well, personally, I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think you can do both. I think, you know, perfection is a process improvement.
But that goes back to.
Well, but I think you could do both. I think you can continue to do that. We did it this year, and we added female flag football. I think
and we also had 3-on-3 basketball, where we got rid of that too.
Well, I mean, again, I think those are service improvements, and I don't think it has to be a it or this. I think you can do both. So I think, you know, in the money that's asking, if we're talking about program and service improvement, then let's talk about how you think the program can be improved, and then allow the professional staff that we hire to be able to do that.
But if we do that, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, if we do that, we have to look at it holistically again. The entire city is our playground.
Well, again,
and if we put
and-
all of these programs together and do it the correct way.
Well, again, that's why we hire professionals that do this professionally, and so I think we have to make it upon them
But if
to
they
do it what's correct.
if they do it professionally, they
Well, I
have
mean,
to
again-
have some type of expertise behind it.
Well-
But we have to bring in the people that do
Again-
that. We
well,
have the
again-
management staff, but we have to make sure that those people can pinpoint. You can't tell me as a football coach, and I'm not saying nothing against a woman, but women are good coaches and referees. But you can't tell me as a championship football coach that you, and I may say, that you're going to tell me that you have more knowledge of the game than I do.
Now, look, I mean, now that we have female referees, I mean, I would beg to differ with that. All I'm saying is, I think we put the expectation on our city manager and on our professional staff to be able to handle it. I would be very careful of saying that a female would not
I know,
have-
that's why I said.
Oh, okay,
I
yes,
have no problem
I think
with
you'd be very, I think
that.
you're walking close to that third rail. I'm saying that we have enough folks, we've invested enough money to put an expectation on the things we want to be able to see. And to me, it would be a holistic program that looks at all of the possibilities that we can do, and that we should continue to evolve. I think we should continue to grow. At the same time, we should continuously improve the things that we do. If something that we say that for a program we want 3-on-3 basketball, then
correct.
Let's say that.
But that goes back to saying, you definitely agree with me that says that the program has to reflect the ask, correct?
Right, well, and again, now you're making the ask. I made an ask, you made an ask. I think, again, we charge our staff to be able to deliver on what we have asked.
So I think this is exactly the kind of feedback that we need to hear frankly, so thank you. To answer some of the questions about the vision and where we're going and some of the challenges, and I know that we talk a lot about this, Alderman Leggett, and I think that you've got to be a big part of helping shape what leisure services is in the future. We're in a transformation of leisure services that was started by this council through Rec Reimagine. Some of that transformation is about recapturing, some of the glory and the gold that we had in leisure services in years gone by. So here are some of the challenges that I see in this transformation. One, there's a facility challenge, right? We've got only so much space to accommodate the growing services that we want to provide as a city, as well as to accommodate organizations and teams that form themselves and that have historically played in city parks, and we want to continue to support those leagues as well. I think if we're talking about a budget discussion, this budget, as well as SPLOST 8, which has almost $40 million in reinvestments into some of our biggest sports complex, that's really good news. The work that's going to happen on Daffin Park later this year to regrade those fields, add some lighting, that's really, really good news for this work. And for other places in our rec portfolio.
But I'm glad you said that, and I'm gonna leave it right. I'm gonna leave it when I say this. When I say that the ask have to reflect, when we have our youth who are using the parks for programming, and we have to continue to have those challenging conversations with people like the Savannah Bananas that want to use parking spaces on Daffin Park, and we have to schedule around who rent from us before we put programming that's has been historically on the park, then we have to have those challenging conversations.
That's right.
And I look forward to those conversations because we have to do what's best for the community or what's best for the pocketbook.
We're going to do what's best for the community, and I think that it's not an either or, it's a both and, right? And so I think there are many amenities that our residents enjoy. Daffin Park is our central recreation park, will always be our central recreation park. But I also think that in the SPLOST program, we invested more in Guy Minnick Field, which is not only to refurbish the fields that are there, but to add a football practice field there, right? So to add capacity as well as to upgrade all across the city, because we need to support these growing programs. I think it was going to be helpful for city staff, where we need help and direction from city council, is how to best integrate some of our celebrated and historic youth teams that operate outside of a city system, while also being able to build a city program that provides equity, that allows anybody who wants to play, and to create a team and a league that has parity and competitiveness. So that's, I think, some of the challenges that we need help solving too, because we want to be able to support, you know, the Whippers and the River Boys and these phenomenal teams and youth programs that have happened for decades and decades. We also want to rebuild and grow our city teams and leagues as well, so that anybody who comes to the door can play in a league and can play competitively and benefit from that team sport activity. So that's something I think that we've got to continue to have the conversation with you, with the rest of council, with stakeholders and teams, with Nick and his team, and I'm committed to having those discussions with you and to shaping that future. I think that these budgets and the information and the emphasis that this council has put on recreation is a good thing, and we're just in the middle of a little bit of a transformation and a turbulence there, and we've got to figure it out.
But I don't want to be on the back end now that we have all the talent here, we have the facilities here, we have the model of how do you build a good leisure service program, and we're right there on the cusp of being a good organization getting it done. And you have places like Port Wentworth and everybody else that's growing and advertising in our face with our same model, and they're growing and they're taking our talent, everybody's moving west, and then we're left holding the bag, and we don't have any talent, we don't have any young people, and everybody's moving west. But we need to learn how to attract not only our young people, but our talent back into the city.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and and we're going to need your help in doing that. I think it's also great that our neighboring municipalities are getting in the recreation game as well, because this community needs a whole lot more of what we're doing, and we've got to be a huge part of that. But I'm thankful that other municipalities are getting in the game.
We have to be receptive of people, and we're not as a city.
Go ahead and say it, I didn't hear you.
I said we have to be receptive of people, of the community, and we're not. The reason why our Little League teams have left is because they don't feel welcome. Just put it out there. Daffin Park, our Little League football teams used to practice on that park out there, and they're not there now because of you can't be here. The individuals in that area feel as though that park belongs to them, not to the city. So we need to bring our.
You hear that?
Yes, you know it, y'all know it.
Well,
It's a city-owned park.
A few of the things.
It's a city-owned park, but the people in that area, when you put up obstacles and you constantly tell people that they can't practice on this day, they can't be here, they got to constantly negotiate, and what you think they're gonna do? They're not gonna stay.
Let me ask you a direct question.
They're gonna leave.
Let me ask you a direct
And that's
question.
what's happened.
Let me ask you a direct question. Have we stopped programming? Okay,
They
so-
cannot practice.
Nick is saying no.
What was the answer?
Hold 1 second.
Nick.
I'm asking, because the question is, regardless of what people say, the question is, have we stopped programming in those parks?
No, we have not.
So what you're saying is that they can practice football in those parks?
Yes.
Little League football?
And they do.
Well, then it's hard for them to schedule a time.
That's
They
probably
can't-
true, 'cause there's so many of them.
Scheduling is off, I mean, they can't do it.
So we do
That's
have-
why they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
I think
Let's
they're still
just
there. I
be
think
for real.
the challenge is so many of them.
Scheduling.
But
Because
you
I
know
know I've
what?
gotten some to say, well, how do you know, we want our boy
They
to
have
practice at
lacrosse
this
out
time.
there, Mayor. They have pickleball now. They have all of these other
Soccer,
type
rugby.
sports activities.
We-
When Little League went out there to practice, they are given so many obstacles.
Are those rented, the lacrosse, is that rented?
The lacrosse fields are rented through our athletics office, but in terms of programs and teams, if they're playing in our league,
we have a spot for them. There are plenty of teams that don't play in our league that also utilize those fields, but we never kick anyone off of those fields.
It's not kicking them off, it's scheduling, it's time. Oh, God.
Yeah,
I guess my question.
I think there is an, if I could just answer, I
Yeah,
think there
please.
is an issue. So again, this
There
is also a born out of the growth in our own recreation program. So this council has invested mightily in recreation programs. We've grown city leagues, we've grown the numbers of teams, we've grown participation. We also have non-city league affiliated teams that rely on city fields to be able to practice, and we want them to be able to have access there too. When we think about Daffin Park, what I understand some of the issues is trying to balance and create more opportunities during the weekday for other teams to practice, versus I think what we all remember, like these long Saturday, activities for the all Daffin Park, and maybe we need to go back
Which
to
were
that
great.
all day Saturday. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
They're great. So I think that there's not to say that you're wrong about the making it accessible and welcome. That's probably true, and
I'm not wrong.
we need to adopt that. But it's also it is a bit of a technical challenge in terms of the amount of space that we have, the number of teams and the number of hours that want to be able to practice. And that's why I'm just pointing to those investments in the facilities themselves in order to lengthen the ability to practice because of better lighting, the turf field that is going to allow, so that rain is not going to impact the ability to practice on those fields, et cetera. So being able to get as much out of our amenities as possible so that we can accommodate all of the teams and all of the hours that they want to be able to be on those fields.
So while we're in this off-season, to that point, and you're acknowledging there's an issue, then how do we address it so that it's not an issue this coming
Well,
year?
one thing that Alderman Leggett and Alderwoman Linda Wilder Bryant and I discussed 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this issue is, one, we want to pull together the rec staff with council, and we can do that at a workshop, and be able to talk through what are the investments that are coming through, what are the programs, what's the vision that we have for the city leagues, what's our responsibility and duty for non-city teams that want to continue to practice, and we want them to continue to practice and utilize city programs. What's that challenge, and what do we think the timeline is to getting the space that we need? Then I think we have to have the conversation about how do we make sure that our city leagues and our non-city leagues are able to operate together in a seamless way, so that we can keep both our historic non-city leagues that are phenomenal, because they were the leagues when we didn't have any. Right? They were city recreation when we didn't have city recreation.
Right.
And they shouldn't go away just because we're trying to invest in city recreation, and they shouldn't. But we also need to be able to create room for a city league where, anybody and everybody who wants to be on a team can be on a team, and we can be able to facilitate that. So I think that this is a critical discussion that we need council's leadership on, and we can get into the weeds, and we can do that at a workshop soon at council.
Let's commit first quarter.
I will commit to that, but I want to be clear that I think from a budget standpoint, the resources are there to help us build and improve our assets to help us be able to solve this problem in the long run.
And the dichotomy between, on one end, we're talking about budget, and what we're talking about is programming.
Yes.
So the budget will support the programming, we just have to work out the programming, and we're committing the first quarter of 2026 to
Absolutely.
actually
Be one of
deep
the
dive
first,
into that.
be one of the first workshops we do, along with illegal dumping.
Okay.
Mr. City Manager?
Either or.
Go ahead.
All right, Alderwoman Wilder Bryant and Alderwoman Leggett.
Mr. City Manager, and first of all, let's be realistic.
First of all, why don't you talk to the mic?
Listen,
There you go, thanks.
the problem that I have is, Mr. City Manager, you start out saying that you wanted to set standards and secure an investment on our future. And the most precious commodity that we have are our children. And I listened to the mayor said they asked. Well, Dietrich and I and some other people, we get asked all the time. And so we have people that are receptive to hearing, and I can hear where I live at. I actually live in the 3rd District where Daffron Park is, right? I can hear the noise, all the hoopla, and I actually, Savannah Bananas, they kind of put us on the map too. But they would rather hear that noise than the laughter of children on Saturday. And to say that there's not an opportunity, a room, I had children that played, most of us had children to play, and all day long, you'd had 4 or 5 different teams playing. We went away from that, and it's okay to have traveling team, but the ask that I have is that they are not, they're saying that they have programs on Daffron Park, and that's not true. No. It's not true. And if it is, the people that I know and who contact me from the 3rd District are saying that they can't play on that park. They took the goalposts down. The teams that actually play in Savannah are playing in Jacksonville and Augusta. So what we need to do is to double down on this, and y'all talking about meeting. The discussion part is over. Most of the young kids in our community who are killing each other are in middle school. We used to have children walk through the community who were tired. We got to keep these kids busy. Y'all keep saying, what can we do about crime? Make them tired. So Monday through Friday, they were walking to the park, and they were tired. Saturday, they had a game. When we could cook out there, we can't do that anymore. That's right. We got Daffron Park. Forsyth Park is the people's park, and we know that. Daffron Park is a park in our neighborhood where children could play. And so we had a meeting. The state representative, we met with people who do the park and recreations. Now, you can't tell me that all the beautification, and we have equipment that looks like Certs and Crayola and Daffron Park. And then at sunset, they want to put army color green over there. And I can't see that being in the same district and go to Daffron Park and get something different. It's got to be, when y'all talking about equity and equality, y'all got to stop saying that and stop telling us that we need to discuss that. We want the same colors. I want the same colors in all of my parks that they have in Daffron Park. We're giving y'all all this money. And we're saying, where are the flag people? Because the ask was, we had a adult girls flag football. They ran them off at Daffron Park. This is what they're saying. I have emails and stuff where they say they can't play. So where are the flag football team playing? Where are they playing?
Our program was played at Daffin and also at Knightfield.
At where?
At Knightfield,
Okay.
Scarborough Complex.
Okay, and so what's our night field?
What's on at Knightfield?
What is our night field? Because I'm going around Saturday and I don't see any of that.
He's saying Knightfield, K-N-I-G-H-T.
Okay.
It's at the Scarborough Complex. It's in the Bacon Park area.
So let's get away.
Oh, no. That's the one that has the lights that the people over there were saying they didn't want the lights. So when y'all talk about roadblocks and unintentional or intentional stuff and gaps and getting real support, our children aren't getting the support that they need to stay active, engaged, and it changes the quality of life. We have talked about this for 4 years. I'm not saying that you don't do a good job, but I know there's an opportunity to do a better job. And when you talk about the ask, our children play more than basketball and football. We've introduced golf and the things that it said, and so we need to make sure that everything and everybody has an opportunity and an option. And that option has to give us a place to do all those things. And so the games that they're having now, when our children can walk to Daffron Park, how do they get into the county? Please tell me that. How are our children who could walk to Daffron Park now have to find transportation to get to the county's facilities? And so when we say that we're doing all these things and y'all come and present stuff, I know, and each one of them know that we're not getting a return for our service. Sure again, when y'all say these programs, and if you're having these programs, and I'm looking at this information, we got all of these kids, we got, what, 38,000 kids who are in the school system, and we know we got the kids here, so right here on this budget, right here, I wanted to make sure, I'm sorry I don't have it out. You prefaced 142 kids in our struggling economy where we don't really need money for kids to practice, they just walk to the park. So that's a program, y'all gotta make this stuff make sense. The math has the math, and right now, when we talk about recreation, our kids are not getting a fair shake. And one other thing, who's hiring, and I'm an older citizen, we gotta do something about these old referees. Can we get some young kids in here to monitor these games? I mean, it just makes no sense when we talking about our children are an investment and they can't even referee a call again that they could probably call better than some of these old schools. And I happen to know a lot of them. And so we need to really do some deep diving and bump this conversation. What happened to the goalposts? If they could play football, what happened to the goalposts?
The goalposts are being put back up, and the goalposts are removable and can be, put back up. So we're putting the goalposts back up.
We want the goalposts back, and we want our kids to be able to really have some vital, engaging, tiresome, busy jobs on Daphne Park.
And the city does not discriminate on the basis of age.
So
I'm not saying that.
one thing I just want to highlight.
I didn't say that. I said that I'm an older person too, but when we saying that we want our kids to be engaged, it's not one person who's a referee that's under 25. So it looks like y'all doing some discrimination to me if we can't get some younger people in there to do the things.
To put some context on the goalposts, I brought up the conversation about the goalposts because we didn't have as many goalposts during the game that I observed. And the feedback that I got was that kids at that age don't need to learn how to run to the goalposts. They can run the cones. I was always taught that you run to the goalposts. So that's why I raised that issue of we need more goalposts. Each team should always teach the kids from 5 years old on up. I can understand at the flag, but for football, contact football, you run to the goalposts.
Understood, and we appreciate that feedback, and we corrected that. One thing I do want to point out when it talks about, like you mentioned, the color of playground equipment or lights. I guarantee you that city staff do not have a preference. And we are always trying to.
Who's the city manager?
Ma'am, if I
But
could.
but please, let him finish, please.
That we are always trying to balance the amenity versus perhaps a community goal. And so it's really helpful for council to express these priorities publicly so that we can go and implement them with the backing that when we say we're going to put colorful playground equipment in the community, we say that this is a council priority and we'll go and do that. So if we do have staff that has a preference for color, I guarantee you they don't have it now.
I'm not talking about staff.
Okay.
He acknowledged me and he looked at me, so I'm answering him.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not talking about what city staff want. I'm talking about having a meeting with city staff, and city staff said they want an agreement to putting a certain color. I was there, so I don't want to be gaslighted like I'm making this up. We had a meeting.
I don't think you're making it up.
Okay,
ma'am.
sir, I'm not making it up. I took notes, and the person who was there took notes, and I was told that it wouldn't be a good idea to put the colorful things over there. And so we're gonna put colorful equipment where children play on in certain part, in my district, because it's like that now. And so if you're saying that moving forward, then I don't need to have this conversation, but I want you on the record to say
If you
that
want colorful
expectation.
playground
Not me.
equipment?
I want what the people in my community want.
Okay, well, if the people in your community want colorful playground equipment, then that is exactly what we will get and install.
And I want a goalpost, because our kids who do go out, they have rules. The football has to be a certain way.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have to have goalposts, and
And the
not, if
lights.
you're gonna put, cones there, and it's removable, then put the goalposts back, because that's what our children wanna see.
Goalposts are going back.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and I'm good.
And we're good with the lights also at Bacon Park.
And better scheduling too, sir. And
Because the context for that is that the turf field that we spent $800,000 for on Skidaway, that you can't play nighttime games at that facility. So the lights that we purchased, those lights are still laying on the ground. We're just waiting on somebody to reinstall those lights. Those are high on.
So what I'd like for everybody to, the next time you're driving down or make a point to drive down Eisenhower at night and see the new lights that are up at Guy Minnick Field, They have the new technology. They're great lights for recreation and for game playing. They also don't spill over into the community or bleed light or have quote-unquote light pollution, which I know is often a concern and worry with residential neighborhoods that abut parks. So I think here, and those are the lights that we have ready to install in other places as well. So I just encourage everybody to drive by there, see what that new technology can do, because that's what's coming to your other parks as well.
Mr. City Manager, when you say that's what's coming, can we get a timeline? If you know
Yes,
the
ma'am.
plan and not a discussion.
When we do our workshop, I'll provide that timeline.
I'm a happy
for you.
camper, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Goalposts, and we can play on Davenport Park. Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Programs, thank you.
We'll be back. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for the presentation. I agree with what's been said about what we have lost in terms of recreation. I appreciate staff recognizing that and making plans to regain some of that. Boxing was a big thing in Savannah at one time.
Yep.
And especially on the east side where the sports arena used to be there.
Third district.
And it was taken in this town. Now, we've lost so much. Flamingo Diamond.
Yep. I've heard of that.
Sportsman Park, Soldier Peak, we lost so much, and they were huge and so well utilized. Even if you have children, you remember spending all day on Saturdays out at Davenport Park. And it was so many kids out there. It really was an opportunity, a missed opportunity, because, you know, we cooked out, we stayed out all day, it was a lot of fun. However, there was no outreach where we took that opportunity to place something in the hands of the parents or the hands of the youth. I'm just thinking about that now, because we're talking hundreds of people that spent most of their Saturdays out there with the kids. And so I know you you all hear us, and you have been doing a good job in certain areas. Nick, we appreciate what you've been doing out in the first district with the centers and everything. Carrie, your people always do a great job. Looking forward to working closer with the housing folk as we look at the housing landscape on the west side. And I haven't had a chance to work too much with the coastal Georgia. I mean, the center there with the Otis Johnson Center folk and Mr. Johnson. But I look forward to being able to collaborate with you guys and getting more involvement and more of the residents to utilize these great facilities that we have. We spend a lot of the citizens' money, and we just need to do whatever it takes to get people in those facilities and taking advantage of those programs. Based on the entrepreneur piece, I think we discussed that earlier in the year about making sure that we had something in the centers regarding involving children in entrepreneurship. So I think you all been doing some work at the park, maybe, in that area. We had something at Moses Jackson. I don't know if that still exists. I haven't heard anything about it. When we were working with the youth over there, they had a store and we're doing some entrepreneur. They didn't do anything with it.
We do have some programs modeled around career exploration at Moses Jackson Advancement Center. So we're working closely with Groves High School to do some job training opportunities. And we also have a soft skills program called Jumpstart that we are rolling out into some of the area high schools. So we go to the high schools, we provide the job skills and work readiness training, and they come to our centers as well for that exposure. Okay. So that's something we're working on for 2026.
I'd like to know more about that so I can
For
help
sure,
in the way
we'll
we
get you
can.
some information
Thank
on
you.
that.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you. Yep, I'm sorry.
Mayor, I just propose if we could get through the Information, Public Affairs, and Management Services interview, which is going to go together. That will be our last service center. I know that our folks have been here all day. And then for the enterprise funds, the proposed budget framework, and the capital plan outlay, I already have reserved time on our workshop on the 25th that we can finish these items, as well as any other session that council may want to schedule to continue the budget discussion. But if we can get through our last service center presentations, I think that would be very helpful.
That's fine. I've been checking already for dates that we can have additional sessions.
Oh, I didn't
Well, dang. Yeah, I mean, look, y'all not gonna be able to pull that, oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, if y'all are all gonna fit on, okay. I got you.
The two.
Y'all got a choir.
The two service centers.
Right. All right, so we, to Jay's point, Joe's gonna go through, we're gonna go right into Seisha, and then we'll answer questions.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. Joe Shearhouse, Chief of Information and Public Affairs. And IPA, as we call ourselves, we are the hub for the city's partnerships, innovation, and accountability and responsiveness engagement with our community. And we'll show you today, efficiency is something we live by, and we'll make this a very efficient presentation as we move forward in it. We're in the governance structure with our colleagues in management services. Here's our lunch break.
Big green button.
There we go. I'm cutting into our efficiency. There we are. In the 2026 budget, we have 2 service enhancements requests for positions to help with our security through a data governance and security position, which will help protect the city from our nearly 100,000 a month threats we have to our IT network. We also have another position you'll see in here, a recorder's court judge, which was just added through our IGA agreement with the county and doesn't impact the baseline of the city's budget. And then we have another one for a network security engineer, which will help make our network system more reliable. Quickly want to introduce our team here at Information and Public Affairs. IT Services is led by Tim Moody, and Pam is also here representing IT in that department. 311 Center, the Action Center is led by Sarah Torres. Marketing Communications has a new senior director, Nikki Kimbleton. Our Recorder's Court is led by Donna Willingham. And then Organizational Development and Excellence is led by Dr. Jennifer Blaylock. Municipal Archives is led by Luciana Spraker. And our I team is led by Manny Dominguez. And our data team lead is Jane Burrell. So IPA works both externally and internally. We work with our user departments within the organization, but we also work with our external partners in the community, and we impact all 6 of our strategic goals within GPS. ITS is very proud of the work they've done. Within 2025, we connected nearly all of our community centers and fire stations to our fiber network, increasing internet speeds by over 1,000% in all of these facilities. Internally, we accomplished the Windows 11 upgrade and brought online the FUSIS Public Safety Intelligence System. Municipal Recorder's Court has an extreme high volume of work. They receive more calls per month than any other area in the city with the exception of 311, and their drop rate is the lowest at 4%. In 2026, we're excited about partnering with other agencies to expand electronic citations to speed up the efficiency of the court, and adding new dockets which better serve the communities of what they need. Municipal Archives had a very successful 2025, getting out in the community for our community memory project, capturing the stories and the histories of our neighborhoods. We also laid out the historical markers program and saw the restoration of the city's historic assets such as City Hall. We're looking forward in 2026 to the Story Roots program, which will get out and continue to map Savannah's history within our neighborhoods throughout the city, and implementing the city's preservation and conservation team, which will take a deeper dive at the assets we have in our community and how we protect those appropriately. The Office of Marketing Communications, I'd like to take a moment to really thank Sarah Torres. We had our director, Nick Zoller, leave in May of this year. Sarah Torres stepped up and filled through that transition. She did a remarkable job in filling those shoes. Thank you, Sarah, for all that work. And in her shoes, we recently hired Nikki Kimbleton. We're excited about her leadership. She brings over 20 years of experience to the city, working both in Jacksonville and the Denver area, so we're really excited about her. continuing to push us into the future. In 2025, we continue to see the city's media impacts increase. We're having more impressions on more people, and it's important in 2026 that we continue to make sure we're telling the story of people, places, and programs that the city implements throughout our day-to-day activities. The I-team and the data team. The I-team, led by Manny Dominguez, has had a focus of this year of being within the communities to better understand the problems of flood, heat, and air quality. They've done that through ideation sessions with our community members, and through those sessions came up with over 200 different ideas on how to tackle these projects. All of those originated through community engagement and feedback. Looking forward to, in 2026, taking those 200 ideas and putting them into prototypes, testing those prototypes, and expanding on the ones that work. The data team was certified as a What Works City National Certification this year, the first city in Georgia to receive that certification. That's laid the groundwork for us as a city to build our data decision-making capacity. We look forward to doing that more in 2026 with data-informed decision-making and dashboards to highlight our progress externally. Organizational excellence and development. In 2025, we graduated the first new Directors Academy and saw the third iteration of the City Manager's Emerging Leadership. We continue to work to expand the city's leadership capacity. In 2026, we're excited about furthering the Savannah Standard and making sure that all of our customer service approaches, both internally and externally, have a standard that we all understand and strive to meet. Policy and Intergovernmental Affairs saw the $146 million in state water funding, the SPLOST intergovernmental agreement, and partnerships with several state agencies to advance our mission. In 2026, we look forward to continuing to push for regional partnerships on the initiatives that are important to City Council. And with that, I'll pass it off to my colleague, Chief Carlisle.
Good afternoon. Chief Shearhouse did that in 6 minutes and 28 seconds, which is the course record. So we'll see what I can do with our team here. I'll start by saying today was brought to you by Management Services. So we are frequently in the background, but we are a mighty team. I have our senior directors and division directors joining us on stage here, and I will have them introduce themselves each to you and walk off stage as they talk about their key 2026 initiative. But to get into the budget, we are on page 77 of your budget document for those of you who are following along. I think I'm gonna learn how to use this as I go. The green button, the green arrow. We support, as you are aware, all 6 of our GPS goals. The key goal for us, though, is to always be a high-performing government. We support all of the leadership and chiefs and employees of the city of Savannah, but we are also here to help provide exceptional municipal services that are responsive, inclusive, and innovative. And our team has done a number of things over the last year to help support that. I'm going to dive right into our budget request. Our detailed tables for our budget request are on pages 79 through 80. And we will start with the increase in our people. So I always like to say that the people do the work, and all of these people behind me are supported by a team of 191 individuals, including the city manager and his senior leadership team. And we are increasing that by 12 in this budget proposal. As you know, we created the Office of the Assistant City Manager earlier this year. We're showing that staff increase of 4 on the table here. And we also transferred in the Alcohol Beverage Compliance and Control Unit within our Office of Financial Services, so you'll see the 4 individuals here. And then we are requesting 2 new individuals in the Office of Financial Services that will help us to better serve our city's procurement needs. If you look in our capital budget, and I just want to make folks aware of this, Our capital budget is more than doubling over the 5-year CIP. And we are needing to purchase a significant amount of new services for the city. And the people who do that work are our contract coordinators and the members of our procurement shop. So we are requesting 2 new positions for that, and we are also requesting a new position within our facilities division, led by Richard, who's somewhere in this crowd, in the back, who is gonna help him support contract coordinations for this next fiscal year. We are investing in the maintenance of our facilities. As you all know, we have built a number of new facilities across the city, and we have a number of aging facilities. And our hope is that we can increase our efficiency and increase our number of quality contracts by adding this contracts coordinator to Richard's staff. I'm going to talk briefly about our 2025 accomplishments. As you all heard earlier, we once again in 2024 received a clean audit for the city. Thank you to David Maxwell and his team. We also maintained our AA ratings. We maintained them as stable, which is a very, very big deal in the current economic climate that our country is experiencing. We launched electronic pay stubs for City of Savannah retirees. We taught 29 companies through our doing business with the city classes, and we doubled our customer experience metric with vendors. We awarded $157 million in contracts. We launched the Customer Relief Payment Program, and that supported 42 property owners in the city experiencing financial hardship. We streamlined license renewals. We reduced processing time by 35%. Our risk management office recovered nearly $1 million, $900,000 through key subrogation efforts. And I just want to let folks know, we did hire a new internal auditor. So I definitely want to welcome Joy Nolan to our team. Joy is back there somewhere in the crowd, I think. There she is. Give a wave, Joy. She'll introduce herself. Hey, Joy. She'll introduce herself here in a moment. As you all are aware, we developed and implemented our Bridge to Success internship program. Through that program, we are working with 3 local colleges and have placed interns across 13 city departments, including my own organization. We launched our organization Years of Service employee recognition program, and a very important key event for the community was facilitating the Rise Job Palooza major regional hiring event. We developed the Equity Implementation Framework as a key part of Savannah GPS, and in our facilities team, we launched a virtual training platform for skilled trades. I want to talk a little bit about our capital projects portfolio. By the end of 2025, we will have renovated, restored, and reopened the Savannah Police Headquarters, the Daffin Park Pool, the WW Law Pool, the Tompkins Pool, Forsyth Park Fountain, and I know there's a lot of folks waiting for that one, Quail Forest Community Sign, Whitaker Street Garage, and we have remediated flooding to restore community access to the Lady Bamford Playground. We, as you all know, completed the City Hall restoration Phase 1 and 2 and reopened our council chambers to the public this summer, a very important event for our community here in the city. And we added a number of new communities, including 3 new splash pads throughout the cities, extra parking at Liberty City Community Center, our new Hampstead Public Safety Facility, our Summerside Park Pavilion, and our enhanced pedestrian safety measures on DeLesseps Avenue. And also in our portfolio, we issued 123 sidewalk and dining menu board permits, and this is key because this is double what we did the prior year. I would be remiss if I did not thank our Office of Management and Budget staff, who, if they don't mind waving, are sitting here to my right. Yes. And standing behind me, the woman of many jobs, Ms. Melissa Carter, who has worked tirelessly on this budget document. But it's not good enough for them to produce the city's wonderful budget, a task that takes many hours, late nights, and weekends over the course of the year. They've also been honored by the GFOA and received a Best in Governments awards for resident engagement and special recognition for the hard work they do to build our capital improvements program. So please, 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 let's give them one more round of applause. All right, I already spoke to folks a little bit, getting behind on my slides here. Whoop. Back. About our budget requests. We don't have significant budget requests, but it is my job to represent the importance of the budget requests within our service center. So I will just reiterate, in a time when we are going to need to execute significant capital projects to improve your communities, and we need to take very seriously and find the most efficient ways to maintain your facilities, these 3 contract coordinators, not huge dollar values in the city budget, but very, very key to making sure we continue to always be a high-performing government. We have a small request, $23,000 for a very big program, and I think this will be money well spent, where we are moving from a reactive discipline to a proactive conflict resolution environment for $23,000 for my HR team for a workplace mediation program. So we're going to move quickly to 2026, and I'm going to ask Christy Lawrence to step forward and join me here. Christy and I are going to talk to you all a little bit about our key capital projects in 2026. Again, I want to reiterate, our 5-year capital plan in last year's budget was $259 million. If you look in your budget this year, our 5-year capital plan is $790 million. Key to this are our investments in water services and our investments in our streets and transportation, but we also have significant investments in our civic facilities. We are going to be constructing the Gamble Building, the Northwest Police Precinct, and the Windsor Forest Community Center, and we are going to be expanding the Pennsylvania Ave Resource Center with a new gymnasium at that facility. I'm going to turn it over to Christy, and she's going to talk to you about 2 of our other key capital projects.
Good afternoon. I'm Christy Lawrence. I'm currently serving as Interim Senior Director of Real Estate and Capital Projects. And 2 of our big key capital projects that we will be kicking off next year, the first one is the Civic Center Arena demolition. That one is part of our Civic Legacy Plan, and we plan to start the work in Q1 and should have the arena demolition finished approximately by the end of the year or early 27. We're also going to be starting the work on the stabilization of the Waterworks building. This is the first step to an adaptive reuse of this important historic structure. As many of you have noticed, the building is in severe disrepair, so this stabilization work is badly needed, so we're happy to be starting that project.
All right, and now, rather than introduce the members of my team, I'm going to ask each of them come up. They know they have 20 seconds on the clock and talk to you about their key initiative for 2026. So I'm going to hand it off to them, and we'll just bring folks up. Here comes Jeff to lead the charge.
Jeff, 20 seconds.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Grant, Human Resources, City of Savannah. For the Office of Human Resources, we'll be focusing on performance management, redefining and retooling our performance management framework to align with the GPS strategy.
Good, Jeff. Jeff. Good afternoon, Melissa Carter, Senior Director, Office of Management and Budget. Our work ahead is to expand on our engagement and transparency while strengthening cross-departmental partnerships and collaborations as we collectively, as Team Savannah, support Savannah GPS to get real results. But we want to ensure overarchingly that we make the best use of every City of Savannah tax dollar and make sure that we're performing and having that communicated back to our residents so they understand what we are doing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Takesha Brown. I have the pleasure of serving as the city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. My initiatives for FY26 will be focused on the implementation of the Equity Implementation Framework to support Savannah GPS, along with increasing capacity and visibility of our diversity champions to help us improve processes and training so that we can ensure that all really means all in our organization.
Yay, Ms. Brown, come on. Put it to work.
Hello, I'm Joy Nolan. I am the city's new internal audit officer. Happy to be here. Look forward to developing and implementing a strategic risk audit plan so that we can help improve the efficiency and effectiveness of city governance across the entire city. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doug Patton, Capital Projects, and we have a project management scorecard, and we're looking to implement some measures to help us deliver projects on time within budget.
Go Jeff, woo-hoo.
I'm Johnny Coker, the Purchasing and Contracts Director for the City of Savannah, and we will be getting asking for 2 additional contract coordinators. That's going to help us to better work and partner with other organizations across the city to do more outreach. We started the Business Opportunity Breakfast. We're doing the Reverse Trade Show, and we're looking to expand those this year and possibly do more of those throughout the year, maybe on a smaller scale.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Hollis, the Risk Management Office. 2026, we're going to be focusing on high-risk loss areas, like let's take the police department and vehicle accidents. We've already kind of kicked that around. We know they're having them, but we want to determine why they're having them. So we'll work with police, training unit, come up with a game plan to try and mitigate those losses going forward.
Yeah.
Potholes. Good afternoon, I'm Tanika Hutchinson, Acting Director, Savannah Civic Center. Our goal is to ensure continuous operations and guest satisfaction as part of the Civic Legacy Project, so that every guest at the Civic Center wants to return and value the experience.
All right, Tanika.
Good afternoon, Judy Jones, Revenue Department. Our goal for the Revenue Department would be to enhance our property taxpayers for
2026.
educating them on the property tax processes.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Eric Chin. I serve as a real estate manager for the City of Savannah. And 2026 will include an in-depth analysis of city-owned properties. The city owns about 1,300 parcels, so we want to make sure we have a good grasp and definition for each one of those by the end of next year.
David Keating.
Good afternoon, y'all. I'm Erica Kowalski, and I'm the Director of Finance. And for 2026, we're going to be looking forward to having a clean audit for the 2025 fiscal year. And we're going to be either maintaining or improving our credit rating. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Richard DeBasey, Facilities Maintenance Division Director. So our focus this coming year will be our continued effort on efficiencies. We will be implementing a controlled inventory system, kind of reduce some of the time that it takes to source materials and equipment. We will our ultimate goal is to reduce the time it takes to complete a service request, and lastly, to improve occupant satisfaction within the city facilities.
Good afternoon, it's Robert Boyce for Utility Services. Our goal for next year will be enhancing customer service through a phone recording system. We're also working with water distribution to maintain a low number of remaining work orders in the system to make sure all of our residents have the water services that they need.
David Maxwell. They've already taken all of the items up there, but you guys are familiar with who I am. Hopefully on the 25th, we'll delve into some enterprise funds and some debt service things a little bit deeper. Looking forward to it.
All right, so that is the Management Services Service Center for fiscal year 2026. And I'll invite my colleague Joe to come back up if there's any questions anybody has.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. So this is a combined, let's give them first a big round of applause. We know y'all have been waiting all day, so we appreciate your patience. Are there any questions for either of the service areas? We'll start with Alderman Leggett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Joe. The only thing I got to come away with, I look forward to working with your team, with Nikki and Ariel and the rest of the guys over there to come up with some better programming for our Channel 8, our Savannah network. What is it called?
SGTV.
SGTV. So we want to, we look forward to working with them. They have some good ideas, and I just want you to just think outside the box and let them take the cuffs off, just allow them to just put some good programming out there. And I just see some good things happening in the future with that. And also with your colleague, I look forward to seeing some good things coming from you, Seisha, and I want to get that big umbrella that was over us before you guys got here was demolition by neglect. So we want to try to continue to have some service programs to take care of these buildings that we put together and the investments that we put in on behalf of the community to make sure when we go into it, we don't have to come to places like this and visit and find flaws, but we want to always show and highlight the great things that we're doing here in Savannah. But to have that over our shoulder and to get more money from the community because of neglect over the years, I'm glad that the city manager do have a staff that think forwardly and have some vision to put some things together to make sure in the future when we do come back or our legacy projects show that during our tenure that we did some things to make sure our time here was worth.
Thank you, sir, and we hear you loud and clear. I think it's going to be a very, very careful demolition. I can't emphasize that enough. As you know, we will be keeping our Civic Center facilities, Johnny Mercer and the above facilities open. And I can't be more thankful for our strong Civic Center team here, led by Tamika, that is going to keep those facilities running and open to the public.
And if you can, I don't want to be a part of a hindrance, but if you can give an update quarterly, or if not, to the council as we move forward so we'll be able to give that information to the community as to what's happening and how long it's going to take. So it's a very emotional thing for the community to see this building take a different shape, but it's always going to be a wonderful thing to see the grid come back and see what the community will see what Savannah was previously.
Absolutely. I don't think quarterly is a burden at all, and I know we will be coming to you very soon with a schedule for the proposed demolition and all of the ancillary work that will happen around that.
And I have one more thing for the water department, if I may. If you're over there too, right?
I am not, but I can bring my colleague up. He's still here.
No, I'm talking about for people who pay the water bill.
Utility services. Yes, I am.
Okay,
until December 31st, I am proudly still over utility services. Okay,
well, on behalf of some of our senior members of the community and most of the community at large, we have an issue when we deal with the water bills. We really would like to deep dive into the water bills and figure out how the services are being handled. We have at one point, I think Kurt has one member of his community. I have somebody also, her bill was almost $7,000, and they wanted to figure out how somebody at 86 years old bill can be that high. But I think that we as the city of Savannah, I know our city manager said we all pride on customer service. We want to make sure when we have people who have challenging bills and things of that nature, we have an opportunity to be the best that we can be of customer service and not beat people down when they come to the desk, because you know our bills get paid by the people who pay their bill, and the best way to do it is be comforting to them before we just say either you pay your bill or we turn you off.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to have a conversation with a doctor. He didn't know he had 3 water meters in front of his house, but his bill was $8,000, and they told him, you know, either you get on the payment plan or we just have to turn you off. He didn't know he was being turned off over and over because he had 2 water meters. But when they told him he had a 3rd water meter, that's when, and he said city services didn't even know he had a 3rd water meter. So the $7,000 that he should have been referred to have a different pay option, he still has to pay that $7,000 fee. But I just wanted to make sure moving forward in 2026 that we have a better outlook and a better customer service outlook as we deal with our customers and basically our bosses, because city council isn't at the top it's the residents who are at the top, and I want to continue to let the residents know those are our bosses before it comes to
right.
city council and city council to the city manager. No, I have to respond to those people that who voted for us.
That's right, sir. I can appreciate that, and I will commit that. I think our base responsibility is to make sure folks understand what's in their bills, you know, throughout not only our utility services, but our revenue department. And we have a goal to do that, so we are happy to work with you, and on individual cases, we're always happy to engage.
Yeah, that's why we got that SGTV coming up.
And that's a customer service issue that needs to be dealt with. So, Ms. Bryant?
Okay, so I'm just so happy that Splosh was approved, and so we get to have our own bucket for, and I'm sorry I missed Mr. Felder's presentation. He gave a really thorough one. The problem that I'm having is we need to fix what's going on, Mr. City Manager, in water services. There has been a lot of problems with billing before we add another pocket for people to pay for the stormwater place, right? We need to make sure we take care of that. And I know what my preview is. They've already told us that about as far as city employees, right? But Seisha mentioned something that she needed $20,000 for workplace mediation. Can you explain that? Because if you're saying that you are acknowledging that there are some problems in one of the departments, so this mediation and resolution is something in addition that we need to furnish Mr. Jeff Grant? Because I thought that was something that Human Resources was supposed to do.
So it is, it's an investment in human resources, so and I'll let Seisha and Jeff talk more about it. But we're a large organization, and we're gonna have workplace conflict. It's gonna happen. And what we want to be able to do is not always go and just discipline folks, but actually be able to mediate issues in the workplace, right? So if there's, if a manager and a staff member are having an issue seeing eye to eye, instead of disciplining those folks for being out of policy, which may still be appropriate, we want to be able to have the capacity to be able to mediate in more productive ways, to say, we've got an issue here, we've got a conflict, not addressing it isn't going to be able to solve the problem and allow us to serve better our community. So to have mediation capacity in our human resources is something that a lot of human resources departments have in every sector across the country. And for us to be able to add that capacity, I think it's going to be able to help us avoid situations that we may have seen in the past, but also to better deal and problem solve as people in the workplace are going to naturally have conflict.
Mr. City Manager, I'm just curious because none of the other departments asked for this particular $20,000 for workplace mediation. Is
So
that
it
not
is,
something
it's
that-
for everybody.
It's whole organization.
And that's why I'm asking questions, because I didn't get that.
Yes,
And
ma'am,
so
it's
this
for the-
$20,000, she's asking it for everybody?
Everybody.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I looked at the human resources budget. The other thing, sir, there is a problem there that needs to be addressed, and it stems with customer service. It's an enterprise. It's one of our departments where money is not the issue because it's self-containing and the sustainability is there. And I'm just trying to figure out why one of our enterprise departments has the most complaints in my district, that water service. Most of the people are on a fixed income, and so they're feeling the butt of it. And so before, I know they're saying the rollout for the extra bucket for the stormwater, that is going to really do some things that we need to do in the community. But before you add that formula to that, might we make sure that we fix what's happening in every district with the water service, the customer service, the billing, where people on elderly incomes, when you say, and most of the people, some of the people, they're only getting $1,000. And so when you say work out a budget plan, we invested all of that money into the meters, and we're still having the same problem. And so what are they going to do different to to eliminate that before we add something else to a problem that we haven't fixed yet, sir.
So a few things that this council has invested in and we're
Yes, sir.
implementing. So as Aisha mentioned, until December 31st, utility billing is still within management services, under financial services. That's being moved to water resources,
Okay.
right? So utility billing, that whole division is moving to water resources, which has the majority of the more dynamic billing services, and it needs to be better attached with our water conveyance folks who go in, turn on and turn off water, right? We also invested in a new utility billing software to help us better track, manage, bill, communicate, and educate our customers and our residents on what the bill means, how they can pay it, and what resources we have to help when there's a financial hardship to pay that. So those are two very, very concrete examples of how we're trying to streamline our processes, bring better organizational structure around utility billing, and provide better governance over that. Customer service is something that is always going to be a goal for us and always going to be a place where we have to improve. At the request of council, and which I think is a great idea, we're engaging in the Disney Institute program, which is all about customer service and all about friendly and positive engagement with customers and staff. That's being led by Dr. Blaylock in our organizational development department, and that again is enterprise-wide. Utility billing is not the only place where we have customer and resident facing services, but it's a big part of it, and one where people interact with at least once every 2 months.
The final question that I have, and we have talked about this a lot, and we've been adamant about it. Mr. City Manager, you promised that, well, you said that you bought the software for direct deposits across the board for employees and contractors. And so I'm wanting to know, because we get a lot of complaints about this from the finance department. If you get a check, it takes 14 days, right, for any company to get that check. They make a stop payment on it, and then that's another 7 days. And so I'm thinking, and I was encouraged by you saying that you bought the software, but we say we have all these professional people and they're exceptional. I just want to know why it's taking so long to push that forward so that everybody in this 2025 $600 million industry, we can't get direct deposits so that we won't get these calls about people's checks that have been lost in the mail, and people, smaller companies who leave and need this money to pay their staff or whatever they have to do. They have to wait almost 21 days. And that's a big problem, especially during the holidays. And so we need to fix that, Mr. City Manager. And we need to get a date where you actually roll that out and we not discuss it with these professional, highly smart and capable staff to get everybody on direct billing. Please, sir.
So one thing is, let's make sure so we're talking about ACH payments to vendors. Employees already have the ability for direct deposit. Always have. But so we are moving to ability to pay vendors through an ACH payment. And I will update council on the timeline for that if we don't have it an answer today. The reason that we had not gone to ACH payments before now, one, there's just functionality within our financial system, our platform, that we keep our finances and cut it.
I don't understand that when you mean functionality.
Functionality in the technology, we have we're changing it. We're going through an ERP process where we're getting new financial software, but we have an old mainframe-based financial system, technology system where we track all of our inputs and outputs. And so we have to have functionality that allows us to provide ACH payments to vendors that works as interoperable with our financial system, which is a technology system. Secondly, too, it's a risk reduction strategy as well. You know, we talk a lot about phishing, right? And one of the highest risk for institutions in phishing are ACH payment frauds, right? Where an email will come in and it looks just like an email from a small vendor, you know, by their name. Hey, this is Tony from, you know, Tony's Paving, and I just want to let you know that I've changed my bank account information. You know, can you please update my ACH information and so that you can be paid here? It's something that so many institutions have fallen victim to, and well-meaning folks, they say, oh, hey, Tony sent an email, it's from his email, everything's right, we're gonna go and update that payment, and then, you know, 60 days later, the real Tony walks in the office and says, well, why haven't I gotten paid?
Well, real Tony can't call them and say that they
Well,
changed
but
it or
that's,
not, and
so
we
I'm,
can't verify
so I'm
that.
just saying that's an
We-
example of a risk management strategy where, you know,
The-
paper check systems don't have that type of risk associated to them. I think
Mr. City.
we've done the due diligence based on your requests and others, based on industry standard. Obviously, many other institutions do ACH payments. It's something that people do. It's something that people do safely. We can do it. We can do it safely. And we will, and we're happy to add the tool to our tool bag. But you asked the question about why, and I just wanted to answer the question to why, you know, we're just now adopting that ACH payment.
All right, thank you. Although we're going to move on.
Okay, before you move on, I
if-
want
no,
to say
no,
this.
ma'am.
In the
If we-
audit
if-
that they had,
if
he recommended that
Alderwoman-
we do it. Yes,
Alderwoman,
sir.
if we need a deep dive on that, we deep dive. We got all these folks standing here. I mean,
What folks?
all of them.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's still standing there, so I mean, you know, if we need to deep dive on it, I mean, again, this back and forth is something you all can have. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question to the manager, only because I noticed that at least one or two municipalities in the state have given some relief to their citizens because of, you know, the federal shutdown and as it relates to utility billing. Have we had any problems,
I
with
asked
folks?
that already.
Oh, you already asked that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
She asked that in a meeting that we had last
Yes.
week.
Right.
I will pull
A
the.
private meeting?
No, it was in public.
Oh, okay, go on.
We can pull some data on any request for payment plans that we've received this month. My recommendation to members of council who've asked me privately about that is
Well, wait a minute, I'm not sure.
we've provided assistance with food to the second harvest, and if the shutdown continued through the month of November, my recommendation was that we look at some options for other types of relief, including utility billing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you know, the federal government is back open, and we're
Exactly.
looking closely at making sure that those, you know, payments, back payments to federal staff and SNAP benefits are going through.
Yeah, that's all I'm concerned about, cutoffs or that sort of thing. So if we've already looked at it, then that's, you know, it's okay.
Yes, ma'am. We'll pull the data, and we're going to be extra sensitive this month to payments.
Okay.
Thank you. Last one on this, Alderwoman Blakely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You had something?
Yes.
Okay.
My question is for Sasha, is that your name?
Sasha.
Sasha.
The $20,000 for mediation, what does that entail? You don't have to tell me now, but I'd like to know what we're paying $20,000 for, as far as it relates to mediation.
Yeah, and I think we can give you a pretty quick answer to that.
Okay.
So this will give us the training resources needed to basically train others, like senior level employees, in facilitation. So I've actually had some experience with this in prior positions. What we're trying to do is get ahead of challenges that employees are having within their organization. And this gives us an opportunity to do that. Traditionally, HR management in organizations has waited for the complaint, and our processes are very much structured around that. But with Jeff's leadership and a lot of thought put into this, this will allow us to engage before employees feel like the organization or their relationship with their manager or other staff members has gotten to the point where they file a formal complaint.
Is this a software program? Or?
It is not. So we are, it's, and I'll actually ask Jeff to come up here, if he wants to speak a little bit more about it.
Hold one
in
second.
brief, but-
Because of the time, we are way over time.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to, we can talk about it
Yeah.
at a later time.
Yeah,
But
so-
we're supposed to be finished.
Let me just
Happy to talk about
add, and many of y'all know I have an HR background, and so I was a certified mediator for the county. The goal of that is to do two things. One is an employee retention tool, because people don't usually leave because they leave because they're mad. So if we can solve issues at this lowest level and talking, obviously, employee complaints, employee disciplinary actions, all those types of things, employee conflict takes up a lot of the workday. And so trying to deal with it at its lowest levels and more informal way, this is like train the trainer. So you have 20,000, you train some, then management gets trained, and hopefully those workplace incidents are reduced. So I think it's a good investment, 20,000, and we really can train everybody through different, your service areas would be impacted. You wouldn't have to all come to central HR, they could do it within their department. So Alderwoman Shabazz, Alderwoman Lanier, and then that's it.
Thank you all so much for all the work that you've done. I just want to just make a highlight, because I actually walk into the Farm Street building quite often, and I just want to thank our chief for your, she's a chief for your leadership, and also Mrs. Judy Jones for just sitting up at the top of that revenue department and bringing the morale, and I'm in there and I see the difference of everybody in there. So I just want to just give a big shout out to you in bringing our revenue department just up above the bar. Thank you so much. And yeah. And also, City Manager, thank you so much for not doing away with Dr. Brown, because I'm glad that, without federal administration.
That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening.
I know that's right, Mr. Mayor.
Equity still means something here.
That's right. So thank you. I'm just happy about it, that Dr. Brown is just meeting the levels too. And everybody else, Mrs. Carter, and some of y'all just new, I don't know you. So thank y'all so much for everything.
Thank you, Alderwoman Lanier.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Christie, will the waterworks stabilization be completed in '26?
The stabilization for the waterworks building should be completed sometime in 2027. I don't have the exact schedule in front of me, but we can get that to you.
Yeah, okay.
I think it should take about a year, and I think we're planning to take it to council in Q1, so probably beginning of 27.
About a year. I know when we work in local government, things take longer, they cost more, because I could not ride in a certain part of Savannah in a couple of weeks, and when I go back, got a whole hotel, a whole building built. And in the private sector, it seemed like things just happen so much faster. And the sidewalk paving list, may not come under you all, I don't know, y'all been changing up pretty quickly. Hopkins Street is in the 5th district, it's on the 1st district list in the book, but I mentioned that earlier, but that needs to be corrected there. Also on page 12, with the parks, recreation, and community centers, please consider separating the splash pads and the swimming pools. They're two separate things, and we got one, everything else is separated, all of the other facilities, and we got that kind of lumped, 16. So you can't really look at that and tell how many are splash pads and how many are swimming pools. And there was I think it was in our SPLOST, some monies for a municipal building. And is that the municipal building on Oglethorpe that will be adjacent to the Johnny Mercer, or
No, ma'am, it's
No?
for another building at the Floyd Adams complex.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you. Think y'all did a good job. Seisha, for your first time up with the budget here, and I think you knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, ma'am, I appreciate it.
Welcome aboard, Station. Glad to have you. Thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. So we're not going to adjourn, but Mr. Manager, if you have any closing comments for today. Again, well, let you go ahead and then I'll finish up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to appreciate council for the discussion today. I know we took copious notes. We heard the feedback. We appreciate the honest and frank conversation with us and amongst yourselves. And we will endeavor to be able to provide some feedback to those questions and to the parking lot items as we move through this budget season. We will be prepared on the 25th, if not sooner, to go through the remaining items on the agenda for today, which is the enterprise funds and debt service from David Maxwell, from the proposed budget framework from Melissa, as well as the 5-year capital plan overview from Melissa as well. And Mayor, we'll wait for instruction from you and council on how you'd like to engage further on the budget proposal as we move through to adoption. So we're just very, very appreciative and thankful for all of council's engagement and comments today, and appreciate y'all allowing us to get through all of our service center presentations today.
No, Jay, I thank you and for you and for your entire team. As I've said before, and I've been here long enough, this is a conversation. And the conversation not only involves us talking, but it also involves us listening. And so today was an opportunity for us to listen to what I thought was a very well thought out, very succinct budget recommendation based on the things that our community and our council has told you through our strategic plan that council adopted that we wanted. So, you know, I think today was day well spent. I think, and what you and I'll do, this week is going to be a wash for the most part, but you and I'll get together, we'll look at this in terms of the deep dive, and if we just need to pull another day in to go through whatever else council wants to discuss, we could do that. Or the areas that we need to make sure that council has enough time to discuss in the public space, because we have to do it in the public space, then we'll go ahead and we'll do that. And we'll, again, as I said before this morning, we'll put in as much time as we need to between the first reading and the second reading to make sure that council has had the opportunity to express what they wish to express. To council, I'll just remind you that when we adopted our GPS plan, we have married ourselves to how our budget goes forward, because it's married to the goals that our community has set. And so whereas before we would kind of arbitrarily go through, well, we want more money here, ultimately here this has to be, and it should be, and we've agreed that it would be aligned within our plan. And so, you know, for that, you know, again, we'll get to some of this stuff, but I do thank you, Jay. I thank Taffany and team for, you know, having tough skin and for being receptive. And certainly, I hope and trust that our, you know, the goal of this is for us to have a better city. And this is a collaborative process. We can't do it without you, and you can't do it without us. And none of us can do it without our citizens. So, so council, I'll get with Jay, and by midweek, we'll have extra days. If you, for us to do that, we can extend our workshops into super sessions. To do that, again, we can put in a whole nother day. Well, I mean, you know, we'll have a whole nother event, you know, to allow you, because again, we want everybody. You have to feel comfortable with your budget. It's your budget, and so. But again, I just appreciate all of you, and all of you. Big round of applause to all of you. Your work doesn't change because you have to sit here and listen to us go back and forth all day. Let me tell you how much we appreciate all of you and what you do. You know, it just we're a great city. We're the greatest city on earth because we have the greatest colleagues. And I don't say employees, I say colleagues, because we all play our roles. So I'm very, very appreciative of you. So that being said, we won't adjourn. We will just continue it until the 25th, when David and Melissa have more time to go ahead and get ready. So with all being said, we stand in recess until the 25th. For those of you traveling, safe travels. God bless.
Morning, Savannah. All right, you are glad to have y'all here in our citizen engagement here.
My name's Helena, and I live in District 6. I'm very surprised. It's an amazing event that the city has put together, and it's very informative.
I love the event. It was wonderful. All the different departments were here, and I really liked it. I didn't know that the city of Savannah was doing things like this to keep us as citizens informed. I feel like they care about us. I feel like the city of Savannah really cares about the community. They're interested in our opinions. And I love that. I feel cared about, and to me, that's important.
Speak out, Savannah!
With nearly 70 participants, the first gathering of young ladies came to grow and glow with much enthusiasm and open minds, which led to a wonderful day of connecting and learning. They were given a safe place to express themselves with people they felt understood their life difficulties. This first meeting opened the door for conversation about things that really matter to the young ladies in our community. With no judgment and a feeling they could be vulnerable, the young ladies and their leaders were able to share in a day of love and hope for a better future.
I had a wonderful day today. I'm always looking for opportunities to be able to be a part of my community, and today was all kinds of voices from all over Savannah coming just to uplift one another and support one another, and it was better than I imagined.
This was a great program. Like, it was very enlightening. I love seeing all the different generations together helping work through everyday life problems and getting great advice.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. When I first walked into the room, I was like, oh my gosh, where did all of these girls, these girls come from? And just to be in the midst was just empowering for me also. So I'm grateful for the invite. Thank you. It was awesome. You guys did a great job.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful walking in and seeing all of the generations in here, all of the young, beautiful Black girls, and all of the different corporations and businesses from around Savannah, like Hugs, Week It Up, Canary's Place, like everybody was here sharing their gems and their love, and it was just so beautiful.
Yo, today was really good. I like how inviting it was. It was very informative about other resources in our community, while also getting deep into our emotions and self-esteem and making us feel confident in the real world.
There was so much love and seeds were planted today, and I can't wait to see what sprouts out of it.
Growing low. Growing low.
name is Marcus Wilson, and I am a battalion chief with Savannah Fire Department. So what this event is going to do is going to highlight the actual dorm room, and it brings to light of what actually a fire would do in the event if it broke out inside their dorm room. So what we have found is doing this community engagement at this age group starts generating interest in what the next level of their life could be. Whether they take a public safety aspect into their life or career. We have drawn some students into the career field that we have. And it's a real big thing to get out and show them what it is to be a public safety educator, like what we're doing. It's part of being a public safety employee. Typically in events like this, each year this has gotten bigger, so it really does attract a lot of the students here. And they really get involved with that. So tonight what we're going to do for the fire demonstration, when it gets a little bit darker, we are going to light 2 different fires. The first fire is going to be in a dormitory setting, in a room that has a sprinkler activated head. So when the fire gets to 135 degrees in that little small confined area, you're going to see that head pop off, and it's going to extinguish the fire, not all the way, but it keeps it in check until we can get there and really mop up, what we call mop up, and extinguish the rest of the fire, do a little bit of overhaul, make sure the fire is completely out. Once we're done with that scenario, we will move to the far side of that, and we will light a fire in a room that is unsprinkled. And we will allow that to grow in the incipient stage to the growth stage and get fully developed. Well, you'll see it where it consumes the entire compartment area and everything inside of it, to where we allow it to actually flash over. And then a crew will come in, full response, emergency mode like they're normally responding, and they will extinguish the fire. So it really gives the people here, spectators, a full sense of how long it takes us to get the call to the dispatch, 911 dispatch center, our response within 4 minutes of getting on scene, and then how quickly we can get the fire attacked and extinguished to show our efficiency.
Hi, my name is Deshante Chisholm, and I'm the clinician for the Savannah Police Department's Behavioral Health Unit.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Kavanaugh, the unit supervisor of the SPD Behavioral Health Unit. And here with me, I have Goose, which is our therapy dog in training. So Goose comes to work with me every single day. He's there to help calm people's anxiety, basically just take pets and just to be there in a moment of need. The Behavioral Health Unit is for everyone in our community. And we're here to stop the recidivism for people experiencing mental health crisis and going to jail. A person in crisis could be anyone. They haven't been able to get their medications refilled, they're going through a divorce, financial struggles, a domestic situation, or something as simple as a breakup. What may be a crisis to you or me may not be for them, or vice versa. So anything can be a mental health crisis, and we're there to meet them exactly where they are and connect them to proper resources.
So as the clinician, I ride with the officers to the scene, and I'm able to assess the situation to determine if the individual just needs resources in the community, needs to go to a mental health facility, or if we can help to de-escalate with their current crisis. A lot of times we are collaborating with other agencies within the community to see what is the best fit for the client. When someone is suicidal, it doesn't 100% lead to hospitalization. And I think that is a big factor that most families don't understand.
We work 6 days a week. We have an on-call 7 days a week. We're always reachable. If you know someone in need of our services, reach out. You can give us a call or you can send us an email. We can conduct follow-ups and we can come help educate and find local resources that you may be in need of. It's never too soon to ensure the safety of a friend, family, or loved one.
Day by day. We get better and better. Till we can't be beat. And we won't be beat.
The city's first annual girls flag football season kicked off this spring with 2 introductory clinics that set the stage for an incredible inaugural year. 6 teams battled through the summer heat, showing outstanding dedication, sportsmanship, and teamwork week after week as they competed for a spot in the championship game and a very big trophy. As the only all-girls recreational flag football league in the city, this program has laid a strong foundation for the growth of girls flag football in Savannah. Beyond the field, the league emphasizes community, confidence, and camaraderie, proving that the future of flag football is bright in Savannah. The city's 100 days of summer has been incredible. With so much to do, the time has really flown by. The city had so much to offer for kids of all ages, from specialty camps, summer athletic programs, art, and aquatics. Summer of 2025 was one for the record books.
I'm Laura Walker. I work in the City of Savannah Water Resources Department, and I'm here today to talk about our Storm Drain Art Contest Phase 2. Storm Drain Art is really important because we wanted it to convey the message of the connection that we have with our water resources every day. When we are in the city, we don't realize how closely our creeks and rivers and the ocean are, but we impact those every day by means of the storm drain. We wanted to use art to convey the message that only rain should go down the drain. But when things like pet waste, fertilizers, litter go down the drain, then there's 2 consequences. Number 1, our water quality goes down, and number 2, those things can actually block the storm drain so that rainwater can't go down, and that can cause problems like street flooding. So calling